All right, welcome back to the Wine and Dime Pod, the podcast where we drink wine and talk hoops. I'm Chris, that's Lyndsay, and we have a special guest. We have Christan Braswell, who covers the W. And I promise we don't only book guests who have the same name as me. That is not a branding decision that either of us have consciously made, but we have had another Chris and we have had a Christian. For those who do not know, Chris is short for Christian in my particular case. This is a pure coincidence.
I actually didn't know that. I definitely thought you
Hey,
were Christopher, so
the
I
more
learned
you know,
something new today.
the more you know.
What the
We
fuck?
have a bottle of, well, we weren't able to coordinate for everybody, but me and Lyndsay do have a bottle of Henry of Pelham Baco Noir. It's an Ontario wine, very shiny, very nice.
Yeah, and if for the uninitiated, if you've never heard of a Baco Noir, there's a reason for that. It's a pretty unique wine. So, like, all of the wines that we drink in the world are from a strain of grapevine called Vitis vinifera. And so, like, Pinot Grigio, Cab Sav, all of them, they're all Vitis vinifera. But those are not indigenous to North America. And so the grapevines that were indigenous to North America do produce grapes that you can make wine out of, but it's not very good. But when people started planting grapes in North America, in particular, like Canada and like the northern United States, so like Washington, Michigan, like those places, Baco Noir was like a hardy grape and it's indigenous to the area. But then a vitivinifera grape and this grape were merged and it created Baco Noir. And the only place really that it's still grown is by this winery in Ontario. And it is the oldest vines of this grape still left in the world. So kind of unique, fun Canadian wine, which is cool because Canada finally has a WNBA team. And even better news for us people up here is that or Bell Media actually did get the whole rights to the tempo, so it'll just be like watching Raptors games. We actually get to watch every game on TV. No more league pass bullshit for
I'm
the
so
tempo.
happy for y'all,
Me
right?
too. I
I
am
know how
too.
hard it was just to watch regular games. Now you get to watch your own team every day. Just turn on the TV, boom. I don't have to go stream on my computer or some bullshit like that.
I still feel like I won't be happy until the merch situation is sorted out. That's still a problem. Nike at least is allowing us to order tempo merch, so that's something. But until like this year, it was almost impossible. You couldn't really order WNBA stuff through Nike, and the stuff in Canada already is very limited. I will say Canadian retailers very behind. I haven't really seen much tempo stuff unless you're ordering straight from like the team store.
Really?
But
It's still
yeah,
kind of hard to get WNBA adjacent stuff. Like, I could not
yeah,
find a
it's not
pair of
easy.
Sabrinas out here when I was trying to get some basketball shoes last year. I wound up settling for the Lucas. I'm still pretty happy with them, but like, the
The
Sabrinas look nice,
Sabrinas,
man.
like Sport Check will have them, but they're like really limited sizes. Like it's just weird. So like I know because I was searching when those jerseys that got like when people were asking if British Nike like leaked the Sabrina jersey, like the city jerseys. Yeah, those were sick. But I went on the Nike Canada app after to go see, and like I couldn't find anything for the WNBA. I found like one T-shirt and something else, and then it updated, and so that stuff's there. But like you still can't get custom jerseys through Nike Canada. When I got my custom Sky jerseys, I had to order them to my friend in Ohio, and then she reshipped them to me.
You know how
And
long fans have been doing that? They've been doing that for a
oh yeah,
while. For a
that's how
while.
long Canadians have been doing that with everything forever because there's a lot of stuff that you cannot get shipped here. So you either ship it
True.
to your friends who live in the States or like a lot of people will have like a post office box just across the border if they live close enough and then ship stuff there.
I mean, why not? You just drive right across to get it on V-Base.
Yeah, I live like 8 hours from the border, so that's harder, but I mean,
Yeah, that's
and then I would be in Montana, which is also not interesting. So like
hey,
Phil Jackson,
Yellowstone.
if you wanna have him on the pod, hear out.
I got to go find Phil Jackson's ranch actually. That's what I got to do.
I don't think you can bring ayahuasca across the border, but I mean, I don't know the law.
I mean, I guess you could hold up the Canadian border and not go to jail. So maybe you can bring drugs. I don't know.
Hey, maybe not with this president in office. He might
No,
not.
this is
Mm-mm.
true. This is
He's
this is
fucking it up
true.
for both countries.
I guess we should also yeah. Well, so tell us a bit about yourself, Christian, for the uninitiated. What are you where are you working at these days? What are you working on?
Well, I stopped covering the Storm beat around maybe June, July of last year. Started covering the WNBA independently for Off the Record. It's this newsletter I started curating, there's things of that nature. It's been pretty cool, honestly, seeing the league through a different lens because, I started out on beat work with the Sky right after the championship, going to Dallas, covering the Wings for a couple of years, and then eventually covering the Seattle Storm from Dallas. Kind of crazy because, exactly right, kind of funny because people always say, like, oh, like, how's the weather in Seattle or something like that. I'm like, brother, I'm in Dallas. It's 95 degrees. What are you talking about?
You're like, buddy, I haven't seen the rain in forever. I don't know.
I haven't seen that raindrop since April. I know what you're talking about, but like that was always a compliment to just the coverage of the team and that of nature. But it's definitely different covering the league in whole. Especially now there's 15 teams. But honestly, I love a challenge. So it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
pretty
Those
cool.
are that's super cool. Are you, and you're doing it independently for yourself now? You've got your own. something up?
Yeah, everyone is, so gung ho on, getting the WNBA job. That is cool, right? But
Yeah,
journalism still exists. If you
absolutely.
guys are gonna start, handing out writing jobs, covering a team, covering the league at wide, that's still a thing. So that's kind of the more of the lane that I would want to do. Also eventually some teams are gonna have to, hire scout teams, international stuff like that. And eventually they will. The funds will be there. Hopefully that's an avenue that I can pursue one day. But that's definitely another passion.
That's sick. I love that. Scouting sounds cool. That was something we were interested to talk to you about for sure too. Just like your thoughts on various players. There's one tweet in particular that I would need to address with you, but we'll get there.
Okay.
It's relating to Gabriella Hawkes. Just curious about your thoughts on that one, but we'll get there.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
was not happy about that pick, and I don't know if I share that sentiment.
yeah. I
I
don't
think
know.
she's a hope.
I have mixed feelings. Yeah, I don't know. Where should we start, Chris? What do you want to start off with? I guess do you want to
Hey, the we can save the men's league shit for later.
the
The
Mendier?
W is back, man. It feels
The
it.
Mendier.
I'm extra excited for the W coming back because for a while, at like legitimately like 6 or 7 months, it was a real possibility that it wouldn't. You know what I
We
mean?
had
I mean, not
numerous
ever, but
conversations about
yeah, yeah.
whether or not there was going to be a strike if I saved this Porter Airlines gift card to go to see the Tempo for too long.
Yeah, all you would have got out of it was those shortbread cookies, and that was it, man. That would have been
I mean,
not
I guess
worth
I
the
would have
effort.
still been in Toronto. I could have come see you. I could have come see some other people. I still would have got something out of it, but it wouldn't have been a basketball game.
I'd had some Ontario wine. It's cool that it's back. It's weird how
Yeah.
quickly everything ramped up. I mean, it's always been a league of fast transitions, college because it's not aligned with the college version of the sport.
No.
College ends, draft, and camp, boom, boom, boom. But this time, even faster than normal. Preseason was 2 games. So a lot of key players were still in Europe for the entirety
Yeah,
of the preseason. So a lot of these teams, we don't really know what they're going to look like on the court at all. They had like a 10-day training camp to figure that shit out. So the teams that don't have continuity feel like they're at a real disadvantage. There's
yeah.
also more continuity than I thought there would be. I think with almost every single veteran in the league hitting free agency, I think we both thought that we would see an unprecedented era of player movement. That the teams would end up looking damn near like fantasy drafts. The big super teams will get chopped up because, the supermax contracts will be getting handed out and the cap squeezes will be happening and it'd be a little more balanced. Turns out the loaded teams are still loaded. A lot of players took less than the max who
Yeah.
could have gotten the max. So you have some teams with like 2 million in cap space just sitting there.
I gotta be honest, I was surprised by some of the contracts, like by how little some players actually took when they had the opportunity to take more.
Bridget Carlton getting paid more than Satu Sabally, man. Like, I'm not saying Carlton ain't a hooper, but I did not expect that.
Well, the Jess Shepard contract, and you can probably speak on that one, Christian, but the Jess Shepard contract in Dallas was huge.
Listen, I will say this.
I love Jess Shepard, but to be clear.
Sure, Reeve, the team that she has in Minnesota, championship caliber, has been for a decade plus for a while, ever since she's really been there, right? They have an ability, unlike other teams, other front offices, to develop players that you wouldn't think would turn into, reliable role players or even stars, Even before this last iteration of the last couple of Lynx teams, that's kind of been their focus, especially in the international market. So I'm happy for the players that left Minnesota when they got their payday. I just kind of always knew that at the end of the day that Minnesota probably wasn't gonna spend that much, especially considering, Fee wasn't gonna be back into maybe All-Star break, late June at best. So it all made sense. All the players leaving. I didn't mean consider the contracts, right? I mean, you would have had the cap split between 3 different players before you even saw your draft pick. So I mean, they weren't going to do that, right? I mean, they're good players. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Dorka is eventually going to come back. Fee is still
Yeah.
there. I really wish they would have gave Delayed Daniels another shot. They drafted her. Well, I think she shot at undrafted free agent deal last year for training camp and didn't really work out. She went overseas, went to Spain. Had a really good year for Baxi Frill in the Liga Femenina Odessa League. So, hopefully maybe she gets a call at some point this season that she knows the system a little bit. But, I'm not surprised by all those contracts, honestly. Happy for them, but Minnesota wasn't going to pay those deals.
No, I do that they wouldn't. It's just sort of like surprising to see like Jess Shepard get that, and then like Satu takes less, and like some of these contracts were just like so much smaller. It was just interesting to see veterans not take the opportunity. And I mean, maybe they'll get it down the line anyway, and they know that eventually because a lot of them did sign short contracts. That's the other thing. A lot of these were only like 1 or 2 years. In most cases, I feel like they were pretty short. So I feel like everyone's waiting for another CBA fight.
It's a big contract from contrast from the NBA where everybody is like, I am getting the most. I haven't even made an All-Star game yet. I want the max. Like, it is a lot more players in the WNBA were willing to take a little bit of a haircut off the top to be in winning situations or to be in their preferred location, it looked like, which I didn't think there'd be that many. I figured there'd be a few, get that
Yeah.
ring, take a couple 100,000 off the top, but I didn't think there'd be this many players. Like, so many teams have cap space. I thought most teams would be spending up to about that line. There's some teams who could go get them 2 max players right now after everybody's already been signed.
I think the Mystics
care
have
what everyone-
2 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Besides,
Maybe they're scared of rookie extensions or something. I don't know,
That
second
too.
contracts.
if you look at the top 4 teams in the league, the only team that really saw any type of upheaval was really New York, and they lost who? They lost Natasha Cloud. They still have the Benaja Hamilton, Lainey Hamilton coming back. Well, I've said that name in a while. That's Benaja Lainey Hamilton. They have Leonie Phoebus coming back from Spain. They brought Pauline Astier over from France. Listen, she's going to be one of the better guards off the bench in the WNBA. I've watched her for the last couple of years, especially on the international stage, and playing in Europe. She's going to be really, really good, and I'm excited that she's in the W finally. They brought Raquel Guerrero over from Spain. She was playing in Valencia with our Fab, who's going to be in Seattle. So they got a lot of good players for training camp deals. Like,
The Liberty have
lot.
like excellent overseas scouting, and they've maintained that because they always seem to have players in the wings kind of waiting to come over. For sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited that a couple of the international players on the tempo, though, actually did come because I wasn't really sure about Milic and I wasn't really sure about Conde. I wasn't sure if they were going to actually show up. So I'm actually stoked that they decided to come.
The Liberty grabbed a player who scored like 60 in an Australian league game.
Oh, yeah. And
They do not have trouble finding talent outside of the country.
Emily has also like been pretty pro-trans, which has just been a nice little aside because she's like...
Emily Maley?
Yeah, Emily Maley. She's been
Yeah,
stepping up.
they don't play that shit in Australia, man.
No, she's sick. I love her. I saw a photo. It was like her and Sanaya Rivers in the same frame, and it was like, this is the gayest photo that's ever been taken. And I was like, yeah, that tracks.
You made a point about the tempo having international players come over.
Yeah.
Question: much do you think Toronto being that city played into that? Because Toronto is an international hub for everything.
Yeah, I think it matters. I think it matters more than people. I don't know if it matters as much as people are going to say it does, but I do think it does matter. It probably depends on the player a little bit. I know it mattered to Sandy Brondello. It probably is easier for some players also, potentially. I don't know if it does make a difference, but for getting visas, it may actually be easier. I don't know. And I feel like it probably does help knowing that the city is already well set up for people in general, right? You're not going to have, like, you can find something that's going to make you feel at home because I believe Toronto actually is the most diverse city on the planet. There's somebody from every other country.
Yeah,
in the
it's
world,
basically
in
Toronto,
Toronto.
New York, and London are like the three. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty much.
I actually think
those.
Toronto was at the top, though. I think there was like a person from every country or something. But yeah, those 3 cities. And
That's
I think
crazy.
that does make it a lot easier. So it's like, even though the hassle of having to play in Canada versus when everyone else is in the US and like just crossing the border for games, that's probably going to be a bit annoying. But I feel like for a lot of the WNBA players, they're already used to that I don't think it's as big of a like deal as it was for the NBA for a lot of men's players being like, oh, I don't want to come to Canada. I think it's different. I do think that Toronto is...
Everybody's played overseas.
Yeah.
It also, what definitely also helps is that it's Toronto in the summer, which is significantly nicer than Toronto in the winter.
One of the best cities
Much
in the
easier
world,
to sell.
especially during the summer.
Exactly,
It's like
yeah.
Chicago.
The summer ain't bad. The summer ain't bad. I'll tell you that.
Ask LeBron. I know he knows.
Yeah, exactly. Just gonna
Man, I've been
say,
hearing about that a lot lately.
Savannah hates Toronto for a reason.
Hey, listen. Yeah, I'm happy for y'all though. I feel
No,
like
it's true though. Sorry, go ahead.
it wasn't gonna happen until they brought in the charter flights. Like, we already knew, like, back when they were doing the Vancouver stuff before it like became officialized. Like, okay, Toronto's gonna get a team eventually, right? It's gonna be Canada's team, but you can't have them boarding like a normal person. These are professional athletes. Get them
No.
on a private jet. Now we're
Yeah.
here. Finally.
Exactly.
Especially
No,
in a
and I
tall
mean,
people
even-
sport, man. You can't be stuffing 6'6" in them economy seats and
No.
expect them to play well. You know what I mean? Like, fuck
6'5",
that.
Timmy Fag Bentley. Good luck.
And the funniest part about that travel conversation, though, is everyone's kind of like, I mean, the customs thing was where I was for sure at, because I'm like, ain't no way they're waiting at Canada or border control like the rest of us plebs. But I was like, the thing with it though is like everyone's like making Toronto out, like the logistics of the travel, making Toronto out to be the problem. And I'm like, Pearson is one of the largest airports in the world. That's not the issue.
It's one of
Connecticut's
the worst
issue.
airports in the world. But
I agree with you. I think Newark is still worse. I think Newark is probably still worse. But like,
Newark's nice now. It's still a logistical nightmare, but they made it
Okay.
nice and shiny and new.
well,
I
that's something.
flew in there recently. I was like, oh, look at this. There's good
Well,
food.
They're trying to sell off all the airports in Canada, so Pearson's about to get worse. It's great.
Yeah,
Can't
they
wait.
want to privatize them. It's fucking weird. I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna.
What's going on with that airport they're building on that island, kind of outside
The
Toronto?
city, it's already an airport there. It already exists. They
Yeah,
were just trying to expand it because they want to privatize it.
that's not good.
I
No,
think they're
yeah,
hosting a
no.
party there
No,
next week or some shit like that. It's weird.
Carney's trying to privatize everything in Canada. He's actually undid every good thing Trudeau already did, so it's cool.
really?
It's good. Going really
And
well
that's
here.
crazy
So
because the list he had it was already short. Jesus.
yeah, I know. It's not great. We didn't talk about that though. The details of Canadian politics do not need to be brought in, but Mark Carney will probably. I would be willing to put money on the fact Carney will show up at a game though.
He
At
will.
a time of increased anti-immigrant sentiment in Canada, it is cool that they have a very international flavor on Toronto Tempo. They've been cutting back on like international student visas, not wanting to build homes for folks, blaming the cost of
Blaming
living and shit
immigration for the
on
housing crisis.
immigrants and stuff like that. So it's cool that they have a team that's kind of from all over. I think like 50%, more than 50% of Torontonians are from outside
Yeah.
of Canada, like myself. So it's
Well,
cool
and
to
like,
see that represented on
and
the team.
to be honest, as much as Torontonians hate this shit, like I get why on some level they hate when the team gets branded as Canada's team, but at the same time, it's like you don't really have a choice. The rest of us are gonna cheer for your team whether you like it or not. So like the team benefits from branding that way, and the team will benefit. It's a more likable team as well, and not more likable, but it's more relatable in a way too, where it's like it's easier to relate to a team being in Toronto when none of the players. I mean, it already happens where none of the players are from there, but like especially like the international flavor makes it feel more like interesting, where it's not just American players playing there. It's like it's everybody. It's more of a mix. And
Perfect example. When the Grizzlies left Vancouver, Toronto, the Raptors were branded as a team eventually when they got it, right? They didn't have a problem with that for the last 30 years.
Toronto Raptors fans do though.
They really?
Yeah.
They weren't even
So
most of them weren't even alive though when that happened though.
there's a big thing. Well, it's because of the We the North branding. Like, so
Yeah.
it's been more modern era, right? Because like the championship year, Toronto, like until recently, Toronto actually hasn't had a jersey that said Toronto on it. It mostly said Raptors. Like we haven't had a city edition jersey or things like that that said Toronto. And so like Raptors fans were like Toronto Raptors fans, to be clear, we're always annoyed that the rest of Canada gets to claim their team. But the rest of Canada's retort to that is like, you don't think the rest of us exist outside of your like little city, so shut it. Like
That's crazy. I never thought about that till now. Yeah, it's
It's
always
a
says Raptors.
natural consequence of like 50% of the country living in the Greater Toronto area.
yeah. I'm like, you don't really get a choice, bud.
Sorry.
That's usually something that happens to very, very small countries that are like a few hundred square miles and half the country lives in one city. It's weird to have that in such a large
Well,
country by
and
landmass.
it's like really funny, like internally, how all the like internal politics of Canada play into it, in just terms of like the East versus West thing, like how we all feel about how the rest of the country feels about Toronto specifically as a city. Because we always joke that Toronto's like the center of the universe, because like for most people in Toronto, like nothing else exists outside of it. Like the rest of Ontario barely exists, let alone
Yeah.
like
It's true.
the rest of the country, which is a really large landmass. And so it's like really like funny to have those conversations come up when you're talking about sports sometimes, because it's like I feel like the sports teams are never mad about it. They'll always take the money, but it's specifically Toronto fans. I know Raptors fans, some Toronto specific sports fans were like getting sick of the We the North branding and sick of the Canada's team branding, and I get it a little bit, but it's like suck it up. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
gonna
it's
feel
only
bad
one
for
of
you.
them. What you want them to do?
You're asking for
Hey.
sympathy. You're not going to get it.
Hop
No.
across the border and be a Pistons fan then. Like,
Listen, first world
honestly,
you know what I
problems.
mean?
First world problems for real.
Seriously, first world problems. I'm like, honestly, I'm just grateful that I was actually just happy the WNBA played one of the Canada games in Edmonton, because that was the only game that I could drive to it. I can, like, that's in my province. And it was really
Yeah.
cool, because I'm like, this is the only time I'm ever going to get to see this level of basketball in my own province ever. And
Was it
that's
the
cool.
Storm and Sparks, right? Or Storm
Yeah,
and
it was the
somebody
Storm and
else?
Sparks, and it was when
Yeah.
Kia was in Seattle.
Yeah, that's when Mecca and Sky were up there, yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was cool because I went with my partner, and then my parents went with us, and like my dad like is not a basketball fan at all. In fact, my mom was really proud that she forced him to watch Game 7 of the Raptors game the other day.
Yeah.
And he even like left the game being like, "That was sick. Women's basketball is cool." I'm like, "This is good. This is the
See?
point. This is why we
Real
do it."
easy. That's what we need
Yeah,
more of, you know?
exactly.
It's
So
basketball, man. Women's
I do
basketball
think
is basketball.
I think the tempo is going to do really good for basketball in Canada. I think also the coaching staff that they put together was very intentional. Having a U Sports, like a Canadian college coach on the team, is really interesting and helpful. Not the best program in the country, that's mine, haha. But she's a really
Hey,
cool
the best
coach.
one in Ontario.
Best one in Ontario, though.
I go to school there, if you're wondering why.
Yeah. But I thought that was a really cool move, and just having just the visibility is going to be really big. Basketball's been growing in Canada since the Raptors, but I think the women's side of the game, especially like our national team, the women's national team, has been so much, well, in theory, better.
Yeah.
than the men's for longer. And so it's like, it's nice to see now this, like, I feel like the actual real golden generation of Canadian women's players is coming now with like Silas Swords and Toby Fournier and all those players in
Can't wait.
college still.
Question
Yeah.
about that, about for Toronto. I know you guys are saying that, but I've heard from fans like maybe Golden State when the team first came out, like how they could afford the season tickets because the
Mhm.
Golden State Warriors had priced them out years ago. That's typical tickets are still okay.
They're
Tickets
real
are
expensive.
outrageous.
Like
Jeez.
impossible. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know how much season tickets were, but I know you're definitely paying hundreds of dollars for a single game ticket at this point.
Oh man, okay, yeah, that's a little crazy.
They
I
all got
get it,
pulled off.
but
They all got pulled off Ticketmaster too recently. Something happened. I don't know what's going on, but it's like really hard to get tickets. I'm still trying to figure out a way to come to a game, but it's like my best bet is actually to go to Portland, to be honest. I live closer to Portland anyway, but or Seattle.
not
But
gonna lie,
like
Portland's pretty cool.
it's
a pretty
like
cool
Portland
city.
is cool. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I've been there once, but it's like it's looking more and more like it's really annoying as a West Coast Canadian fan because like it's still proving that it might be easier to still go to the US to watch my team play.
Like
It-
who
it's
wants to do that, right?
I don't want to cross the border. I don't want to do that. Not this year,
it's
at
like
least.
the opposite of what they did with the PWHL launch, where like Scepters games. Well, before they had a name, like back in that first season, it was like very affordable to go to those. It was pretty
Yeah.
easy to get tickets, even when they were selling pretty quick. But like with the tempo, man, like these resale tickets are
It's
outrageous.
just the WNBA. I think actually the worst thing in some ways that did happen was the WNBA Canada games, especially in Toronto, because it built this. I mean, there's been a
It
demand. It
did.
was always going to be there. It was always going to be there. But I feel like having had games now on Canadian soil where fans have actually gotten to go watch, it's also like there's just more demand. The PWHL, like hockey's always going to sell in Canada. It's hockey, but like they didn't have the WNBA wasn't like the PWHL wasn't already this well-established league with
Yeah.
momentum going into it. So like I get why the tickets are so expensive, but I fucking hate it.
It's also one of those sad consequences of being Canada's team is that you know that not only do you have demand from your own market, but people will travel hundreds of miles to come see them. So
Yeah.
you're like, we can charge whatever. It's the same thing with the Raptors tickets. You can charge whatever because some family of four from Vancouver has been saving up for months and they'll spend hundreds of dollars on this.
Because at the end of the day, I'm already spending $800 to fly to Toronto. I don't care what the ticket costs at that point.
Yeah.
Domestic flight.
Because
Like,
that's how much the domestic flight
crazy.
is. The domestic flight is like $600.
And this is why I don't go nowhere. And this is why only Toronto exists to me. This is like,
Yeah.
it's everything's coming full circle. People are like, Torontonians don't even like recognize the rest of Canada. I'm like, I can't go there. Like, it's, I can't leave Toronto,
Well,
man.
but you at least would be interested if you could. They're just not interested in doing it, even if they could.
You want to see something? Might as well drive across the border to Detroit, get you some
Yeah.
pizza. I wouldn't
Yeah.
suggest that though. That pizza's terrible. Chicago's the best.
Okay. I enjoy both. I actually
well-
genuinely do. That shit they make in St. Louis is, we don't do that though.
They put barbecue sauce on that shit, man. Like, what is that? Like,
Man.
what?
Man.
Exactly.
That shit's like on a
Lyndsay.
it's like on a cracker. What is that? Like, I
Yeah.
don't understand.
I love thin crust, right? But like, I shouldn't be able to see through the crust in the pizza, man. Like, yeah.
No,
It's
but, no.
criminal. It's
But tell me
criminal.
more about St. Louis pizza. I'm really intrigued in a morbid,
They
sad
use
way.
processed cheese on it too. It's mad weird,
Yeah.
man.
Avena.
Boy.
It's mad weird.
Yeah.
Toasted ravioli is fire though. Shout out to St. Louis.
Yeah. Never had a
Yeah.
bad toasted ravioli.
Yeah,
good.
I have friends who will die on the Connecticut pizza being the best hill. I have no skin in this game. I just am repeating what she said. But I
It's
have no,
good.
like,
I wouldn't say it's the best, but I think I've gone on the record before as saying that
You've
the
had
thing I'll miss
multiple
about the
times.
Connecticut Sun being in Connecticut was
The
they
pizza.
had like the famous New Haven joint had a thing in the casino and they're inside the area where the Sun games are. So I was in my seat fucking pizza up every time I went to a Sun game when I would visit my parents out in Rhode Island. 2-hour drive, go out there, destroy a nice pizza. Like it's way better than stadium food has any business being.
I hate to say it, but Connecticut pizza is better than New York pizza.
I haven't been in New York, so I can't even really
Yeah.
say.
I haven't had any of it. I've been to Chicago, but I did not actually get pizza in Chicago.
What'd you get?
I don't even remember. Oh, actually, the thing that lives rent free in my head actually still is the French toast at Sunny Side Up Bistro. I don't know
Okay.
why. We just went for brunch one day, and the French toast was probably the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my whole life. I don't know. It was so good. I don't
Yes.
know. We ended up not getting pizza. We went to some other. I can't remember the restaurants we went to. We went to a bunch of different places, but we did go. Actually, Chris Pennant, who maybe you know Chris. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
used to go to Sky games all the time.
Yeah, so he's actually the other Chris we've had on the pod. I met him through Chicago Sky Twitter also. And then when my partner and I went to Chicago, we ended up just meeting him randomly and he took us out. We went to a cocktail bar in the North End that was fun and I can't remember. I don't know. But we ended up not eating pizza. Like of all the things, we ended up not eating pizza. So next time, I guess.
In my first visit to Chicago, I had tavern style and deep dish. So I was trying to cover all my bases
Oh, you
as
was
far as
eating
Chicago
Serbian
pizza
limit.
goes.
I feel like I'd be more into tavern style. Like I've had deep dish pizza before and I'm like,
The deep
I
dish one
know.
I had was good. The tavern style one we had was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I like deep dish, but listen, it's every blue moon
Piece of
type
cake.
thing.
Yeah.
You gotta
We
eat it
got
with a
piece of
fork and
cake.
knife.
It's a
I
little
don't
too
want to do
much.
that all the time.
And I think that was also why I was like, I know there's other pizza, but I just don't have the energy to do the research. So next time I'll, do the
Yeah, no problem.
research.
Yeah, I
I'm pretty sure Chicago Sky gave me COVID. So,
Yeah, it's
I
just,
came home
no,
I came home with it
maybe
too.
watching the sky gave you COVID. Maybe that's what
Probably.
it was.
It was the year after the championship that we had Emma Meeseman, so my girl Emma would never. She could never.
that
How
team was
dare you?
supposed to win. That team was supposed to win it,
If
man.
they were
But
them supposed to winning is what gave me COVID actually.
unfortunately, somebody took out Candace Parker's knees. So
Yeah. That was a tough year. That was a
I
tough
was in
year.
the arena when that happened, and I was like, okay,
Mm.
yeah, the game was over at that point, man. I saw Candace slipping off to the bench, and I was like, and this is where the championship rally ends. And I'm just like, wow.
How do you feel about James Wade? Where were you on him?
James Wade is a great evaluator, great coach. I think sometimes he just kind of lacked the people skills necessary to be a WNBA head coach.
Mhm.
Um, and you can kind of see that with kind of the players that left, right?
Yeah,
You can
for
say
sure.
what you want to say about the franchise being terrible because it has been for forever. We could go down the list of players that have left. It's been regurgitated by every journalist you could think of.
And every Sky fan knows it and agrees. It's not like it's an argument. Like we all
Exactly. We know this, right? I'm from the city. We know this, right? But Azare came back. I don't think people understand how big that is, Azare Stevens going back to Chicago. I mean, she
I was
was
Yeah, that
good.
struck me one too. I was like surprised. I remember being genuinely surprised that she
Yeah.
came back. So
She always loved Chicago. The way she used to talk about it, the stuff she used to do
I
all
love
around
her.
the city, and I always felt like it wasn't the city, it wasn't the team, because I mean these players stayed despite the circumstances they were dealing with, right? Maybe it was the personalities around the team that made them
I think
not
it's
want to.
I think it's like the front office probably is playing a big role in that.
They still practicing
Yeah,
at a YMCA or whatever.
Pretty much.
yeah they did training camp, I think, at UIC, which is close to downtown. I think they're going to be in their facility sometime this year. I think that's what Jeff Pagliacca or Tyler Marsh said a couple days ago. So hopefully by the end of the season, maybe the middle point, whatever, in that in the new facility. But I'm happy that they're finally catching up with the rest of the league. It took long enough, right?
Yeah,
How you feel about
it did.
the free agency moves this
For
year?
Chicago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a great free
New
agency.
team. Whole new team.
Yeah, like I had them ranked as a top 5 team as far as how well they did with free agency. But the draft picks and the trades that made no sense. I mean, listen, you gave up 2 second-round picks to Toronto and Portland to not have players selected in the expansion draft, right?
Players they didn't even want.
Yeah, players like Aisha Coulibaly, you had her rights, had Maddie Seekers, Maddie Westbeld, Evan Lith, other
They cut Westbeld and Van Lith now. Like
exactly
What?
players that you gave up draft picks that you end up cutting. Don't get me wrong, something could have changed, right? Cindy Taylor coming on the scene. Okay, we need to have her back, but I mean, is it worth giving up the draft assets for it? And then the trade for J.C. Sheldon, that didn't make any sense. And like I put a tweet out the other day, Cody Vanderson 37. Skylar Diggins, 35. Cloud, 34. I can't remember, 34, 35. Banham, 32.
It's giving anti-energy. Big
Yeah,
anti-energy.
yeah, and the only shooter in that group really is Rachel Banham. Like, and I see people come up with these excuses about how
Alarming.
Skylar. It's alarming how like Skylar and Natasha can like play more than the one. What are you talking about? They've played point guard their entire careers.
They're just not notoriously good. And it's not like the kind of point guard like Sabrina or somebody where they move off ball like no problem, it's easy, that's like fine, right? Like Sabrina almost needed to learn to play point guard at the pro level versus in college, so moving off ball was good for her. But it's like Sloot and Tash and Skylar all they've been point guards in this league for like more than a decade. They've
They
won
all do the
championships in some
same
cases,
thing.
and they do the same things. There's a lot of redundancy, which maybe you need if you're going to sign a bunch of 35-year-olds I guess as a 35-year-old who feels like I'm breaking every day. I get it. But like
they signed the other 2 just as like stunt doubles for when Vandersloot has injury problems
it's
or
going to
what?
be those 3 players are just going to be one position and they're going to rotate in and out based on just who feels better at the moment because
I will say though, Jeff did his big one when he fleeced LA with getting Makia Jackson because they just gave
That
her
was
up
huge. Yeah,
for
that was a
nothing.
huge trade.
I didn't
I'm
expect
really
that
stoked
at
about
all.
that. Although I would like to say that if she ever puts sugar on her mac and cheese and admits to that, she should be kicked off the team.
And I was like, on mac and cheese, I've heard ketchup, I've heard barbecue sauce, I've
Well,
heard
yeah,
different things like that,
because
right?
and those are all normal condiments to put on
All
ketchup.
very sinful, to be honest, man. Don't be putting no ketchup on your mac and cheese,
Sugar,
dog.
sugar.
Well, like even hearing sugar on spaghetti, like I've heard that from lots of people. It's even like a
Yeah.
whole bit in Parks and Rec, like that Leslie loves sugar on it.
I think sugar grits are weird, and you putting sugar on mac and cheese. That is
Sugar
that's
goes on
crazy.
grits, man. Come on now. Well, you know
We
what's crazy? I don't
ain't
even
from
eat
that
sugar
part of
grits
the
anymore.
South.
I
Cheese
don't have
grits.
I'm a cheese
Grit
grits guy.
grits.
I'm a cheese grits evangelist.
Cheese
That
grits.
is the way to be.
Yes, it is. A little butter, a little cheese. Listen, man. Throw a little shrimp in there. You got a meal.
Yeah, I
Easy.
can't really. I don't have like any expertise on this subject, but anything with butter and cheese is usually good. So
Yeah.
Yeah, butter and cheese
That's like
goes
the
with
foundation
anything.
of French society, right? Like
It's the
butter and
foundation of North
cheese will make
American
everything better.
society.
butter and cheese is the foundation of French society.
Butter, cheese, and wine is like you can live till 70 just off that.
Actually, if you don't, you failed as a French person.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, Scott did great, honestly.
The free agency thing is weird though. Like, I think it's just my beef and my challenge with them is just no matter how good they are, it's gonna just be so hard to ignore the management, the asset management, just how the process is just being so bad. Like, it killed me last year watching Ariel Atkins fucking put up brick on brick on brick when Sanaya Citron's out here, like, roasting the league. I don't know. And the Sky are, like, my arbitrary team that I picked, like, back when I was starting to, like, really watch the W. Now the tempo exists, so I have to cheer for them, but I will still cheer for this guy. I can't not. Like, I've put in the sweat equity at this point, and I apparently like to choose teams that make me hate myself because this guy do that sometimes, but...
You could have had Sonya Citron. You gave up your chances to get Hannah Hidalgo. You gave up your chances to get Sarah Strong.
I thought the way we handled the Dana Evans thing really poorly, too, to be honest. I thought James Wade really fucked that situation up, and then it really never got better. I just felt like there was just, like, a lot of, like, I don't know, weird situations. Like, there's a lot of players who seem to have thrived when they leave, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I watched that mess on the perimeter last year, and I was like, man, they could really use a young perimeter player, like a Sanaya Citron, like that type. And I was just like, huh, if only there was an avenue to get one of those.
Crazy.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they think Sonya Citron was going to be that type of player, but coming out of Notre Dame, she was the pressure valve when things went wrong. You need a shot, she's got you. You want to get to the rim, she's got you. Free throw line, you can do all of that. Those type of players may not seem like they're going to do a lot in college, but those are the ones that become stars in the W because of what they can already do in the college level. So for teams like Chicago to keep missing out on these players, like we've all heard the rumors that HVL was Angel Reese's pick, right? Whatever that could be the truth, it could not be. Whatever. Even if that wasn't, the fact that you took that player when she wasn't W ready, when there are other options right there after her, like it's just miss after miss after miss. You look at every draft pick for the last 5 years for Chicago, and you see a future Hall of Fame or a perennial All-Star after them possibly, and it's just like, what did you miss? Like you look at three conferences, you look at the SEC, you look at the ACC, and you look at the Big Ten. That's it. Like, what else did these kind of receive? Do you look in any other conference? No.
The non-shootingest team in the league missed out on a player who shot 44.5% from three as a rookie. Like, that's just
like
the thing with the draft is like it's always easy to look at past drafts and see like, oh, they could have got this player, they could have got whatever, because the draft is always you never know. But I agree in the sense that it's like even if it wasn't Sanaya Citron, there was a million other players in that spot that would have been great at three, that wouldn't, even if it wasn't a perimeter player, like there was just a bunch of other really good players that would have been a better fit than trading that pick for a veteran like Ariel Atkins, who frankly like had one good year in Washington, like truly one really good year by herself. But most of the other times she was supported by having like stars around her. But like as much as I loved Angel was never quite the star to be, like she was not at that level. Like she's not an Elena Deladon yet, she's not those players yet. That is what Ariel Atkins thrived around. Like the process never made sense. And targeting her as a specific player also never made sense. And this isn't really shade to Ariel. I like her. It's just, the player in this team it did not make sense to me and I never really understood it. But I don't know.
I mean, her, Rachel Bannon, they were all playing out of kind of position. But then again, this all goes back to drafting two post players that can't shoot a 15-foot jump shot consistently. You drafted Kim Cardoso, you drafted Angel Reese together. For what reason? You didn't need
That
both
was
of
also
them.
weird to me. I took it as like I liked it because at the moment, just because it was like, well, we got two really big talents, like you may as well bet on talent. But at the same time, there's a bunch of other players where I'm like, the fit doesn't really work here. Like choose Angel and a guard and somebody else, or Camilla and a guard. But
That's
I
how
don't
you
know.
build a team. You build a guard and a big.
It
Look at
felt like they were
Seattle.
trying to zig while everyone else zagged, but then they didn't actually put anything around those two to make that decision
It's
actually
kind of
make
just
sense.
Jeff heat checking and not really having. He's like the swaggy P, like chucking it up, turning around and celebrating when it goes off the rim. How do you feel about all the reports though about how much like Courtney Vandersloot's actually involved in like creating the organization and her image now? Like that seems to be a thing that's been. I haven't honestly dived a lot into it, but I'm just curious. Like as someone who's been around the team more, what your thoughts are.
You know, it's funny. I was debating on actually writing about this because I had some thoughts, but I let it go because it wasn't really coming from a place of just like writing. It was kind of just like, I can't believe this is actually happening because like we've all known like this is going on behind the scenes for years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess it's just kind of the public sentiments, right? I mean, one, she's
Mhm.
not practicing for real with the team, so I mean, to think that she's kind of over in the corner talking to journalists while everybody else is practicing is kind of funny.
Weird.
It's kind of off rip. I think one of the first instances where I was kind of like, wasn't thinking too much of it. It was kind of weird, right? The Angel Reese trade, right? She got traded 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it is at this point. Courtney Vanderson came out talking about the trade and just things Angel said and how it hurt the team and how she never reached out to her last week. Why are we
Yeah.
hearing about this now? Like,
Yeah, it's
that didn't
kinda
make any
weird,
sense.
and just, like, I don't know. I love Sloot, she's always been one of my favorite players, and so it's all been a
Yeah.
little weird, and it's all been kinda disappointing because I, like, didn't think she moved like that, and then it's like, I guess you do. That sucks.
And like that was only strike one. And then
Yeah.
you got Azare, rightfully so, one of the best offensive bigs in the league. 6'6", 3 level score, right?
Mhm.
You're talking about, she has to show up this year because she's getting the superstar contract. And it's like, I get that they're friends. They may be because they spent so much of their careers together.
It's like some weird pressure to put on somebody.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna bring up my friend's pockets and be like, "Yeah, you're getting the superstar check," and then so you need to show up, at least not on camera in front of
Well,
microphones.
yeah, right, like, not live in front of
Yeah,
journalism. That's weird.
and like I guess the weird thing to me is to see the constant capes coming out for Sloop in these type of situations, which is kind of weird because like this is kind of the same thing that y'all criticize Angel for and talking to the
Well,
media and it's
100%, yeah. That was always my thing is I'm like, I've always had mixed feelings about Angel Reese, like, I've never felt as high on her as a lot of people or as low, frankly. Especially, I do have the privilege to some extent of being, like, outside of seeing online arguments, having 0 affiliation with American colleges. I have no fan base, like, no fan attachment outside of, like, I just arbitrarily chose a place. And so I feel like I don't get to participate in those fan discussions, but it's almost been a good thing because some of them are just horrifying. Like, stan culture is just a terrible place to be, and
yeah, doesn't matter the
it was
player
so
anymore.
it's, like, so dangerous around, like, players like Angel and things like that, and that always frustrated me, like, I always wanted to protect her because I'm like, she doesn't deserve the vitriol, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of fair criticism that's also being pushed away because, there is so much just, like, hatred towards her already. We can't criticize her because now it's like, people will jump at you anyway, and so it was tough because 'cause I'm like, I think her game is flawed and she has flaws that she needs to work on, but we can't have
We
that
should be
conversation
able to
because we
talk
can't have
about
normal
that.
conversations, yeah. Like,
Okay,
I
saying that
literally
injury struggles with her finishing, or she needs to develop a jump shot to really consistently be the player that she needs to be at this league.
Yeah.
That's that's not it's not hate. That's just
No.
that's just analysis. That's just thoughts that everyone knows,
Kinda
right?
just a fact. It's, like, objectively true. I mean, it's funny because it's, like, even and, like, the Angel thing got so crazy because it's, like, I even had people I remember I was on a work trip, and I'm sitting with this person who, like, I don't really know him that well, and as far as I can tell, is, like, knows very little about women's basketball or women's sports, and he's talking about fucking me bounds and shit, and I'm like, "This
A
is
plus marketing.
ridiculous." Like, I
A
hate
plus.
how it really was, and the fact she leaned into it was kind of cool, like, I appreciated that she's, like, owning these things 'cause it takes it takes away the venom, but it was just, like, so weird where I'm like, you can't have normal conversations about Angel Reese with literally anybody, like, it's weird, and
And the thing
so
is,
I'm
I
glad
follow
she's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm glad it seems like it's been quieter since she's been in Atlanta, and I'm happy for her sake that that's the case, but yeah, it's been kinda weird, and her whole tenure was just really unfortunately, like, loud, I guess, in the wrong ways, like
If they would have just got one shooter, just one besides Rachel Banham, it would have worked.
yeah.
It would have worked.
Anybody who can shoot it from
Anybody.
23 feet.
And I
Anybody can
mean,
shoot.
I want to believe if Sloot didn't tear her ACL, it would have been better also. I mean, she wouldn't have been solely the cause, but again, just having anyone else who could shoot. I really miss Allie Quigley. Speaking of Sky shooters,
I miss Allie, man. You won't hear
apropos of
shit from
nothing,
Allie.
I just miss her. I just miss her so much.
I think the last time we really saw her was when she was playing WAG when Courtney was
Yeah.
in New York.
She's living her best mom life right now. Because remember their baby was in the baby race last year at
Yeah,
Winchester?
that was so cool.
That was cute.
Well, I guess going back to the Sky made sense. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what, you know, not Julie, Lee's from Joliet, which is about maybe 40, 45 minutes outside of Chicago. And they've raised their family here for most of their lives. You know, their kids are, born going to Rosemont, playing at State Farm Arena. State Farm Arena? I think it's State Farm. Could be wrong. No, it's Allstate Arena. Allstate Arena.
Like I feel like the same. I feel like the
They're
same
all
5
insurance.
corporations own all of the stadium rights across North America. So like, it's
Pretty
just
much.
picky.
Remember that one weird point?
In Canada, it's either Rogers or Scotia.
Really?
And in the US, it's like the same 5 companies. It seems like it's like Allstate or State Farm,
Yeah, State
or like
Farm
any of the big.
Yeah, because Rogers Center is also the name of the place in Edmonton with a W plate.
Yeah, because that's where the
Yeah.
Oilers play. So there's Rogers. So there's Rogers
Every
Arena.
sports
and
arena is the Rogers Center in Canada. Every single
No.
one. There's literally multiple with the same fucking name.
So there's Rogers Arena in Vancouver where the Vancouver Canucks play. There's Rogers Place in Edmonton where the Oilers play, which is where the WNBA game was.
Yeah.
And then the Rogers in Vancouver is also where the W was. And then there's whatever in Toronto, there's a Rogers. I can't remember which one it is. It's Rogers.
Rogers Center is where the Blue Jays play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Formerly the Sky Dome, which I still would like to call it.
I still call it the Sky Dome, so that's
Yeah.
why I never remembered. I
Because
know
that's
Rogers
what it
owns,
is. It is a Sky Dome.
I
It
know
is,
Rogers
yeah.
owns the rights because Rogers owns the team, but I don't really ever remember. But for instance, like where the Raptors play Scotiabank, I always call it Air Canada Center. It's still going to be Air Canada
That's
Center.
always been Air Canada Center my entire life.
Yeah.
You remember
Now
that one
it's-
weird point in the NBA where like American Airlines had the rights to Dallas and Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Now it's just, we call it the Big Bank Arena, because Scotiabank owns like every other because Scotiabank has the rights to the stadium here in Calgary where the Flames play and a bunch of other stadiums too. So it's like if it's not Rogers, it's Scotiabank.
They own
No,
the
that
big
makes
movie
sense.
theater in downtown Toronto too,
Like
man.
TD,
That's why I saw the TIFF
He is a
stuff.
Canadian bank and owns more stadium rights in the United States.
Yeah,
Boston,
TD Garden
TD.
in Boston.
Yeah.
And when I go to TD in Massachusetts, I can't take money out my Canadian TD account for no
Really?
reason.
It's a different bank, but it's owned by the same bank, but it's like they're 2 separate entities, and it's a Canadian bank is like the actual owner.
So it's CBNC or something. CBNC there? It's a bank like that.
CPMG or whatever? No.
CB
I don't know.
something.
There's
It's like-
HSBC.
It could be. It's like a burgundy yellow color.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know why I
Maybe.
know this, but oh man.
Huh.
I don't-
Anyway,
Canadian
whatever.
knowledge.
Doesn't matter. I don't know. The Sky are going to be interesting to watch. I feel like they're going to be fun. We have great talent. Like, it's like when you look at the players, you're like, oh shit, there's a lot of talent on this team. It's just like I feel like the Sky are still doing the traditional WNBA team building thing where it's like you can just refresh your roster constantly because we don't need to draft and develop. We can just get free agents or just like switch out the teams as you do. But I don't know. The asset management's concerning. But anyways, I need to. So, Gabriella, you didn't like the Gabriella Hawkins pick. We got to talk about that before we move on.
Okay,
Why?
so-
Why?
That's another pick where I felt like there were just other players that could have just impacted the team better or quicker.
Fair enough.
But like I understand that, everyone didn't want Flage there for some odd reason. You didn't want Raven Johnson there. Yet if you really for the entire offseason we've been hearing how the plan is to build around Camilla. Camilla doesn't have to play to somebody else's back seat or some shit. First of all, when Tyler Marsh said that, I was like,
Wait, what?
the other day, Tyler Marsh was saying that, this is Camilla's turn, basically just to kind of embrace herself as a player. She doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody. And I'm like, why do we even have to say that? Like, she was the top pick in the first place. She should have always been showing up, not taking the back seat to anybody.
Yeah.
She was a lottery pick.
The lack of energy coming from her at a lot of points was like obvious and concerning, and it doesn't matter if she's a second stringer or not. Like that's the kind of shit you don't expect out of a top 5 pick.
And it's been that way since college. But hey, anyone that tries to tell you that, I guess they're a hater or they don't like her, but that's just the truth. She's
Well, unfortunately, it's hard to have normal conversations around South Carolina or LSU players.
Yeah, it's
general.
getting to be that point about both of those. But, you could have drafted Raven. If the key was really to unlock Camilla Cardoso, you draft Raven Johnson.
I would
Full
agree
stop.
with that in the sense that I do think there was like better, if that was the like, I didn't know that quote. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
If it was about that, then like, yes, there's definitely like 100 better guards than that they could have taken. I mean, Kiki Rice was right there.
Yeah,
I love
the
Kiki
next
Rice.
pick, the next
And
pick on the same damn team. So I know you watched the play.
as a Sky fan, it was a weird draft because my two teams drafted back to back. But it was like for the Sky, like I wasn't personally mad about the Hawkes pick because like when you were saying earlier with Sanaya Citron, it's like she's a tough player because like in college you see she's not like the star of the team, but she's clearly like doing everything and like important. And so in my head I'm like maybe the Hawkes pick was like a redo for not taking a player like Citron, and Hawkes is just we're just like banking on the fact that all those good things she was doing around the fringes are going to be at a star level in the W. And I don't know, I'm not a talent evaluator. I sell wine for a living. That's my job.
Sky said we got 3 30-plus point guards. We're gonna ride until the wheels fall off. We don't need to develop another one behind them. We're just gonna
I'm a
we're gonna
wine
get a glue
evaluator,
player to fill in around them, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm a wine evaluator and a talent evaluator, so I can't speak to that. But it just feels like that pick to me felt very like it felt like a culture pick also, where it was like we're trying
Yeah.
to set some kind of like it actually almost felt like not a message to Camilla, but it's like to have a player with just like a big motor around her a little as well.
They're just trying to course correct from all the player reports about the shitty vibes around the Chicago Sky franchise the
I
last few
think so.
years.
Yeah.
They
No, for
wanted like a
real.
real trooper, you know what I mean?
For real. Yeah.
Like we've all seen players have great March Madness campaigns, attorneys, and that kind of catapult them into first round picks, right? Last year we had Sarah Ashley Parker lit the scene on fire for Alabama last year in the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament. Became a top 10 pick. Draft, I think it was top 9, drafted number 9 to the Sparks last year.
I actually thought she was good for the Sparks too.
She was. That's the thing. It just felt like she was kind of just underutilized. Wasn't really, put on the floor.
Her season was super weird because she got put in like a position to do like way more than she was probably ready for at the start. And then when like Hamby and Plum and like other like injured players like came back, she kind of just like fell out of the rotation. But
it was unfortunate.
I thought so too. I thought she was actually crushing it, but
Yeah.
I thought Hawkes was definitely projected to be a first-round pick before March Madness, but maybe only became a top 10 pick when it was March Madness. That was
And even then, the
vibe.
consensus was like in the latter half of that 10 before the
Yeah,
draft.
like,
I didn't think she would go fifth.
I thought she was for sure projected first round, but I definitely didn't expect top like 5. Like, didn't expect
Lottery
the pick
pick.
she went at.
I
Yeah,
thought she would go
expect-
like 10, 11.
Same.
Yeah.
And like I will admit my blind spot is that I don't get to watch a lot of college basketball because it's basically impossible here, but especially UCLA. But then, yeah, it still felt rich for that pick. I do remember being surprised, but then I wasn't mad about it exactly. But I also feel like part of that is also because I have way more pressing things to be mad about when it comes to Chicago's asset management. That like spending the pick on her just felt like the least egregious of all the things that we've done with draft picks. So
they didn't want Flau'jae in the studio with Chance the Rapper, man. They were like, no, we don't. Nobody want to hear that.
But you let Indiana get Raven Johnson in the process, who's going to be the steal of this draft. Like,
actually, I got to be honest. Raven and Tanaya Latson both fell way further than I ever expected. Well, Raven in particular.
Raven was like a lot of people around the league, especially GM stuff, that she's going to be a top 5 pick. And that was a crazy indictment on the kind of year that she had. Like, everyone's talked about the fact that Kane and Card Waves are off in 22-3, 5-4. Right? You can talk about that, right? But she also shot 37.5% from 3 during that tournament. But she wasn't actually shooting that badly. The following year, she shot 41.8% on the way to a natty after winning over Iowa. And then you go have her senior year where she shot around 39% from 3. So, the improvement has always been there. I think a lot of people let one viral moment dictate how they see this player as, not even just a player, but as a possible WNBA player, not even a draft pick. If you would have told someone like 2 years ago, yeah, Raven Johnson could be a top 10 pick, a first round pick, they would have laughed you out in the gym. But like I always saw, a lot of other people always saw it too, right? But
yeah,
like you just said about Gabriella Hawkins, I can't remember, or was it Kiki Rice? Like a lot of these players are asked to do certain things in college that they're not asked to do in the pros. Like Amber Cochran's turning Raven Johnson to a combo guard.
Yeah.
She's never done that before, but she has the skills to do so. It just takes the right person to see it.
Well, that's just it. It's just about, and you see it all the time too, like the NBA or any sport, frankly. It's really just about like position and like it's like team fit with position and like having a coach that has like the vision to be able to like use that player properly or understand what they can do. I think one of the most famous examples, honestly, it's Nikola Jokic in the sense that it's like not almost nobody ever. He was drafted where he was for a reason, but it would have taken a very special like situation for that kind of player to ever even end up on the court. To be honest, like I don't know that if another team, like I don't know, the Bulls or somebody, whoever had taken him, like you don't know that career would have turned out the same way. Like these top some of these like lottery picks, you're like, okay, like they're probably gonna do fine no matter what. There's a lot of players where it's like the end point of their career really hinged on like what happened earlier in their career. Like they ended up in the right situation with the right person. And as a result, were able to actually thrive or whatever.
A
And
lot of
so
teams, if they had taken him, he'd be in Europe still. You know what I
100%,
mean? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
four-time EuroLeague MVP, some shit like that.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of players in the I think Citron is actually a pretty good example, to be honest, because I actually, like I was surprised when she went as high as she did because same thing, when you watch her in college, you're like, "Okay, well, she's not the star of the show," but then you're like, "Oh, no," but all the things she was doing in college were actually, like, so important, and those skills almost translate better than just being a, like, one-dimensional top scorer in college where it's like anyone can score the basketball, especially at that level where there's such a, like, disparity in your defenders and who you're playing.
Like a Haley
But
Van
exactly, but then some of those other small players, other smaller things that are actually turns out those are harder things to do than we give them credit for, and so those translate better to a harder league. I do think a willingness as well to sacrifice matters because as we see it every league and we talk about it all the time. It's like these players go from being the best person on their team and in their worlds until they're not all of a sudden. And so it's like when you play, there's a reason Don Staley's players always succeed in the league too. There's coaching sets them up for that too. So I don't know. The Fever did get a steal though. I don't know how they keep doing it.
watching games, a lot of people don't watch South Carolina
Well,
games.
actually, it's literally exactly what you said earlier too. They literally watch 3 conferences and they watch
Yeah.
5 programs and they're like, "We're gonna draft all our players from these programs and it's probably gonna work."
I
The
mean,
Howie Roseman effect.
Yeah. Did they play for Georgia? Got him.
Yeah,
Yep.
nailed it.
He fast? Got him.
Yeah,
Come on
is he
over.
big and fast? Got him.
Yeah.
Villanova, Gonzaga, NBA. Straight.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you had a good year or not. You're in the NBA. Just because you came from
Man.
that program,
How many Zags came over to NBA and found out it was very different from playing in the WAC or whatever, man? Like,
Just ask
Look-
Jalen Suggs.
look at those
Adam Morrison.
those UConn guards. Look at Ryan Boatwright and Shabazz Napier. Man, that's taking it back. That's like 10 years
LeBron
ago.
was hype about Shabazz, if I recall correctly.
You know
love
who went
Shabazz.
to Gonzaga and has gone on to have a long NBA career? Kamloops legend Kelly Olynyk.
He did, yeah. That's crazy.
He feels like a Gonzaga player too,
Yeah.
like vibe-wise.
Yeah. Well, because so the funniest
they love
thing
a
about
long-haired white dude at
the
Gonzaga.
funniest thing about Kelly Olynyk is that he's like from Toronto. Technically, he was born there, but he grew up in Kamloops, BC, which is like this tiny ass little city, and where actually my mom's family is from. So it was like funny because when I went to college there, he had just been drafted like 2 years before I went there.
Yeah.
And so the program, and his dad is the head of basketball at that university. So everyone's like, Kelly, it was a big deal that Kelly got drafted.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because like a Kamloops man aesthetic is like the long-haired white dude with like the backwards flat brim cap.
Yeah.
And that's all Kelly Olynyk ever wears anywhere. And it's really funny because it's like you can take the man out of Kamloops, but you can't take Kamloops out of the man. He'll be a Kamloops man forever. He bought the Spurs he bought his teammates all these like really nice custom suits and shit, and then he showed up wearing a backward snapback in his custom suit.
That's a Kelly thing for real.
Same outfit every day
Kelly.
like a cartoon character, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Gonzaga. I don't know. There's a reason there's certain programs that like you're probably going to do better as a pro, even if you weren't a starter at that college program. You'll do better as a pro than some starters in lots of college programs. Although I think it seems like women's basketball is getting a little more spread out. There's talent in every team now.
It's second time, but I mean, Pac-12. What used to be the Pac-12, the Big 12 now.
RIP.
The Big 10, SEC, ACC. I mean, the A10 still teams. I'm forgetting somebody. The Big East. I mean, the conferences galore, really. Then there are a lot of good D2 schools out there as well. I think look at those. Maggie Dugan had a really great season. I don't think Richmond's D2. I think Richmond's D1.
They're D1, yeah. A10, I think.
Yeah, I think they are in the A10. Yeah. So
Spiders, go Spiders.
yeah.
Whose free agency did you love the most, I guess?
It's kind of hard, honestly. A lot of teams had a really good free agency. Because I look at it from you add the draft, the expansion draft, and also free agency, right?
And in the W, it's hard to look at them as separate things because they all literally happen within like back-to-back weeks.
Honestly, I think Atlanta had the best offseason. And I hate to say Atlanta because it's so obvious, right? But it's not even really just the Ancient Reese trade. It's the fact that they signed everyone back from last year on good deals, right? And multi-year deals at that. And you traded for Ancient Reese and you didn't give up not a single prospect, a single player. I mean, they only had Nas Hillman on the record. I mean, on under contract at that point. But the fact that Chicago didn't trade is like, okay, Dan Padover, Carl Smesco, you guys are cooking.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to top in like Pow Pow or nobody like that, man. They kept
Exactly.
How do you
everybody.
what do you think of Smesco as a coach too? Because last year was his real first year in the league, but obviously took the team to crazy pretty far. But how did you feel about that coaching change over Tanisha Wright?
Honestly, Tanisha Wright had all the opportunities to kind of get that team to succeed, and they kind of just didn't. I mean, this
I
is
felt like she never made things easier for anybody ever. It was like, here's the ball, Ryan, go get it.
yeah, and like there's this old regime of WNBA coaches for some reason that was it be outside or something.
No, the sun is like directly in my eyes. Continue. Keep talking.
No, I feel like there's this old regime of WNBA coaches that kind of like, didn't really care to play rookies or young players at all because the aim is always win a championship. And I get that, right? But you have so many young players go to Atlanta and they just not play. And it was kind of weird, And then you see, Carl Smesco come last year, Tina Papa immediately. Major role off the bench, started like 15 games, best 3-point shooter on the team. Shot, I think she was a top 15 3-point shooter throughout the entire season as a rookie. Like, what if she was still the coach and y'all drafted Tahina? You wouldn't know what she could do. She probably would have been right away on the bench. So I think Kyle Smesco done a really great job of, blending the all-stars, the experienced veterans, and the young players, right? So you keep all your young players. You did pretty good in the expansion draft. You kept Isabel Bourlet. She comes over from Australia. She's looking great. You probably have an idea that Bree Jones isn't going to be ready to start the season. So what do? You draft Medina Okot, who's shooting around 38% to 37% from three through like the last, I think it was like 17, 20 games of the season. Out of nowhere, just start shooting threes.
I actually love the Okot pick too because everyone knows she's kind of a developmental player but she clearly has the talent. And so it's like she's the perfect kind of player where she'll get some run early before Bree Jones is really back. You can kind of see what maybe she looks like in the pros, like what we need to work on, and then she can slot back into that better position after when Bree Jones is back and can work on the development a bit more. But it's like you'll get to see her, get to see what she's got, and then know what you need to work on. And I feel like that was such a perfect pick. I was really happy that they took her.
Her first preseason game, double-double. First preseason, I know it's preseason, but she had a double-double. I think she was top. She led the SEC in double-double. I think she was top 3 or 4 in the country in double-doubles. Led the SEC in rebounding. Like, all these things matter, and to do that in the hardest conference.
Yeah. I also do think the preseason in WNBA matters more than other leagues just because there's 2 games. And so you actually do see like best
You got to play your
players.
starters like 30
You
minutes.
see more. Yeah, you do see more. And I'm like, for the tempo, for instance, it was like, you can't take a ton of the wins and the losses, but you can still take things out of preseason in the W more than other leagues, I think, because there's really only like a couple games. And yeah, again, you play your starters, so you just see a little bit more. But yeah, I think Medina Okot's going to be really fun in Atlanta. What did you think about, since Chris is a Mercury fan, what did you think about the Mercury offseason there? Pop his bubble. Versus bubble. Just kidding.
I hate to say it, but a lot of people who have the Mercury high up this year, I just don't see it. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have AT, your Hall of Famer. You have Koff, your Hall of Famer. Perennial All-Stars, right? You have DeWanna Bonner, still in her prime, exiting her prime, still a valuable role player in this league. You have Valerie Ayayi coming over from Europe. She's played for USK Praha for the last couple of years. She has experience at AT. She's one of the better forwards in Europe. She's really good. She's a 2.5 level scorer, can hit the 3, mostly the short corner. You have Kiara Linskens. She plays for Belgium. Again, one of the better posts in Europe. She's really good. She's played in Russia for a couple of years. It just about having that blend coming working together. We haven't seen all these players at the court yet. So it's going to take a couple games to really see how it looks. I don't think they're going to make it back to the finals this year. I
would be very surprised if that happened.
Right? Like, they lost out too sadly, and don't get me wrong, I get the production and the players they brought over. I like those players. I've watched them for a while now, but the W is a different beast. So we're going to see how they adjust to it. The players they brought back last, I think it was like 5 of their top 6 scorers. Monica Cole-McConney, AT, Kalia Copper, you brought back Tasha Mack, Sammy Wickham's back. Unfortunately, losing Kat Westbeld is going to hurt. That's going to hurt.
She has just enough juice to cover for you at center. Just a good enough shooter that you got to put somebody out there. She was actually really key to that early season stretch. Tasha Mack is a deserving starter herself, but like Westbeld really gave them another look for teams that can pack the paint. Because like you got Tasha Mack and AT on the court. That's 2 non-shooters, and some teams can't necessarily take that away. They take advantage of that situation, but some can't, which we saw a little bit in the playoffs.
Tasha Mack, another Chicago Sky draft pick out there thriving.
Yeah.
Finally.
Tasha Mack, honorary member of the Phoenix Mercury dance team also. But no,
I love
I
Mac.
I think the consensus I've kind of been seeing from like major publications is like Phoenix being like 7th in their like preseason power rankings or whatever. And I'm like,
That's a little
fine.
high.
I don't think that's like, I think I expect them to be back in the playoffs. They
Yeah.
have a fair amount of continuity. They played a lot without Satu last year anyway and did fine.
They did.
I think not being there will have a much greater effect on their ability to advance in the playoffs than it will on their ability to get into the playoffs. I think getting
More of a
in,
playoff issue than a regular
assuming,
season issue.
yeah, if I assume that Linskins and Ayayi give them some solid play, I expect them to be in the postseason. I don't think that they're not gonna knock the Liberty off this year. Like that's not gonna happen. If they draw that in the first round, it seems fucking loaded, man. So like I don't see that shit happening, but I do expect them to be in the postseason. Might not be a high seed, probably won't be hosting the first round series, but I think they have enough to get back. I am curious what the next couple of years look like for them because, she's still cooking, but she's not going to get younger. Bonner is almost 40. I am curious about what the lack of serious young players is going to be like. The fuck them picks era means that they don't have. There's like one player who's 25 and under who will actually touch the court for this team. It's literally just a Makani, and she's essentially a 3-and-D player. You know what I mean? Like she's not a driver of play. And so at some point they have to draft somebody or
She's
otherwise
definitely
acquire
more.
somebody who can go, you can build around. AT ain't gonna she's gonna be good. She ain't gonna be good forever.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like and I feel like Akoa Makani is like the perfect point guard when you have that like dominant scoring guard to also go along with her. Like she's definitely a compliment. She's more of a traditional point guard in that sense versus being like this like star sort of point scoring guard that we see more commonly now. Like I
The
feel like she's more
Derek
like,
Fisher type of starting point guard where like your primary playmaker is not your point guard.
yeah.
And you orbit around them, make some entry passes, hit some open threes, occasionally run a little side pick and roll. Like she's not going to be AT is the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the secondary ball
The
handler
whole ship
is
is
going to
mostly
be
built out of AT. Yeah.
The secondary ball handler is going to be some combination of Cock Hopper and probably Sammy Whitcomb, if we're being honest. She's going to have the ball in her hands a lot too.
Yeah.
Another player who's not too far from 40, so it's going to be interesting.
Say,
I think they can get one more good season. Next year they got to figure out how to get somebody with some young legs over there.
Yeah. Phoenix, I think it's crazy to see them people putting it like 13 or 12, like that far down in like rankings or something like that. So for me personally, top 4 off that: Vegas, New York, Atlanta. The top 2, I mean the 2 and 3 are interchangeable. Indiana, top 4, could be higher than that. It depends. Really, that's your 4. After that, Valkyries, Sparks. That's already 6, right?
You're pretty high on the Valkyries.
I was
figured them for like in the 8 range, sneaking in the playoffs again.
So these are the 8 teams from last year's playoffs. We got the Lynx, the Valkyries, the Mercury, the Liberty, the Aces, the Storm, the Dream, and the Fever. Of those teams, do you see any dropping out, and who do you see replacing them?
Can you run that one more time?
Oh, sorry. Like of all the teams that were in the playoffs last year, are any of those teams stand out to you as a team that might fall out of the playoffs this year? And who would be the team you think would replace them?
So I'm dropping out.
Let me see real quick.
I'm saying Storm drop out and Wings jump in.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or maybe I don't think the Mercury are vulnerable to falling out of the playoffs. I just think they're vulnerable to like an early round exit and maybe not being a top seed.
Mystics might fuck around and do something.
Yeah,
no,
the Mystics,
they might be a year away, but they excite me. That's a fucking cool team.
Still, but I think that they're going to be really good.
I haven't released it yet because I'm probably going to do it maybe Friday morning, the first day of games. I have Dallas as a 6 seed. Like 50. Like,
how do you feel
I've been
about
looking at their roster, and it's balanced.
It's like
what do you know about their coach? Because I don't really know anything about him.
So Jose Fernandez has really spent like the last 20 plus years at South Florida, kind of just cultivating other coaches, teaching them the game, getting players to the W. Most notably Courtney Williams.
Yeah.
Kitty Alaska played for South Florida, I believe. So he has a pedigree of development, pedigree of just a really sustainable coaching style. I think will really mesh well with the young players in Dallas.
Nice.
I like Chris from last year, Chris McClellan, but it just kind of felt like the moment was a little bit too big for him at times, especially for a rookie head coach, kind of thrust into the moment, and your rookie guard is Paige Beckers, player that's been, talked about it in front of cameras since she was like 14 or 15 years old, and before that in the AAU stuff. So I think it was a lot to overcome for a rookie head coach. You
Yeah.
bring in someone that's not new to this in any type of regard, and I think that's kind of one of the biggest benefits of this. Someone that's been there, done that. Even not on the professional level, but he has been on the collegiate level. I think we're going to see more of that over the next couple of years. You have the I'm trying to think. Listen right now. What's the coach of the Sparks?
Frick. I just saw her name.
Yeah.
Sparks coach. And we're doing the Google machine. It's Lynn Roberts
Lynn Robert?
from Utah.
I know she coached at Utah before she came over.
Lynn
Yeah,
Roberts.
Lynn Roberts. Wow, I forgot that. But Lynn Roberts came over from Utah. Osmesco came from Florida Gulf Coast, I believe. A lot of more coaches will be taking that swing. You have Christan Braswell coming over from the NBA. I have my own takes about that. But yeah, actually, you know what? Let me get into that real quick. I'm not a fan of the whole NBA assistant coaches coming over to the W for one simple fact.
So
The
how did you feel
W,
about Tibbetts when he came over then?
and listen, I promise you, I have nothing against Nate Tibbetts. I don't even know the guy. Besides, I've spoken to him on Zoom a couple
Y'all don't go
times,
back.
right? But you lost me when you tell me that your dream job is really the NBA, and you feel like you got passed over for it. In your introductory press conference for the Phoenix Mercury, a WNBA team. So you're saying basically, this is your second option because the big boys passed you over because you weren't good enough?
Terrible optics. Yeah.
That was kind of how I
He
felt.
said that shit.
That's
He
crazy.
said that shit. Then you have James Wade leaving the Sky, basically saying, his dream goal was always to be a coach in the NBA.
Hey,
Brother,
if it
you
makes
won a
you feel any-
WNBA championship.
Christian, if it makes you feel any better, I boo his face every single time it shows up in a Raptors broadcast. I boo him.
Like, people forgot that these people say that. And, it's one thing for a new guy to say that, but someone that's won at this level, yeah, no. Kristen Marco coming over.
The Wade thing was weird because as a Raptors fan, I had I hated that whole thing because I was like, as a Raptors fan, like in theory, I should be excited about like a new assistant coach, whatever. Like I didn't know anything about Darko like taking over, but I'm like, oh, James Wade, like that's a name I know. But I'm like pissed because I'm a Sky fan. He's just like abandoning us midseason. I'm like, fuck you, man. You don't get to come coach my NBA. You don't get to come coach my NBA team. Get out of here.
It's like, so your dream was to be an NBA assistant coach?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
I thought that was weird too. Tibbetts has certainly proven himself, but
yeah, Chris Markham came over talking about he read a book about the WNBA and the Liberty players and things of that nature. And I'm just like, oh man, here we go with the lip service again. Man. Like,
yeah,
you ain't got to stop.
Like, what did you think of like the Brondello like situation and then like just the Liberty coaching change? Like, I'm just curious in general. Like, I'm happy because we got Brondello, so it worked out great for my team. For sure, NBA assistant coach thing coming over. Like, I think it ties into that. It was weird that they replaced her with that, or felt weird.
I made a joke. Finals before last, 2024. Yeah, Liberty won 2024. I made a joke that was like, yo, if the Liberty doesn't win, I'm like, I know I said, Yara Sably really just saved Sandy Brondello's career, her job. And
Yeah.
like, I think about to go back to it now, and I'm like, yo, if the Liberty didn't win, they probably would have fired Sandy. And like, at the time, we were just joking about it, right?
Yeah,
but to see like this whole uproar, how could you fire Sandy? I'm just like, bro, we all joked about it last year. This same time, like last year, we said that if the Arsenal didn't hit that shot, they lose. And
she was pre-fired. She was pre-fired.
Make those jokes, but I think you can also still be like, I think you're gonna make the jokes, but also still sort of be surprised when they actually do it, or at least still be annoyed when they actually do it, because you can make the jokes and still think it was the wrong choice. Like in that case, like some people,
you can make the jokes think it was the wrong choice, and then the replacement. That's the key part. I
think that was the one that I was mostly like, I mean, like say like whatever, like you choose to move on from a coach for a number of reasons, especially one that won you a championship. Like we went through that with Toronto and like Nick Nurse and stuff. And like by the time he left, he needed to go because the culture was bad and like things weren't going well. So it's like, who knows? And I don't follow the Liberty super closely, so like I don't know, maybe there was definitely some stuff that was going on, but like the replacement certainly stood out to me where it's like you're replacing an established championship winning head coach with an NBA assistant who's never coached in the W.
An NBA assistant that's never coached, and then also did not join the team immediately during the offseason and stay with the Warriors through the NBA season. So like,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he didn't join the Warriors. I mean, didn't join Brooklyn until like the season was over for the Warriors. Brother, you all weren't going anywhere. What was the rejection to join the Liberty at the time?
Well, and by that point, the WNBA season's like well in swing already. Like you should have been doing a lot of other stuff as the head coach of that team in February and March.
Very least, right?
What?
At the very least.
Yeah, like that what was more of a surprise. Like, I didn't realize he stayed with the Warriors through the rest of their season.
Yeah, I don't think he'd run a team until like right after the CBA stuff. So
That's
yeah,
alarming. That seems alarming. I'd be alarmed if I was a Liberty fan, but I'm not, so whatever.
and, people was making a big deal out of it, and I kind of understood why. Because like, how are you gonna just jump into it like a car? You gotta warm it up. You just start your car, just pull off in the driveway, like.
Well, and I get that, like, the coach isn't doing all of the scouting and all of the stuff. Like, obviously, the GM has a bit more on their plate in that sense. But I'm like, wouldn't you want to, especially if you're coming to you're coming to the league for the first time, you're coming to a team for the first time that you've never coached. It's not like you're an established head coach that knows most of these players that whatever, you're coming back and it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to come back to the team a little late because, we're mostly the same roster. We're running it back. It's whatever. There's no there's some continuity, but you have no continuity with the team.
And like, I mean, the players like him, so that's cool. But like,
That's good.
I don't know, just the interest of all of this could have been better. Could have been a lot less cringy. But we're not supposed to say these things.
It did feel a little bit like their GM, Jonathan Kolb, was kind of doing stuff because he's like heat checking a little. It felt like, kind of wanted the team to be made in his image a little. It's what it felt like. But I don't know. Just some of the comments were just weird around it. But hey, the tempo benefited. I'm happy to have Sandy back in the Commonwealth. So good.
It's like Sandy knows how to win. That team, the way they drafted, the way they picked in the expansion draft, that's the team that wants to get to the playoffs this year and make something shake.
Well,
They're not.
Chris and I talked about that because we were like, you can tell by the coaching choices they made that Sandy's not trying to fuck around here. Like,
Even before the expansion draft, we were like, they're not going to be taking shots on developmental players and hoping they hit. They're
No.
looking for established players, and it's exactly what they went and did. They went and got Marina Mabry, went and got Kia Nurse, Julia Alamon, Brittany
to be fair,
Sykes.
Kia Nurse
We
didn't sign
both
until...
mocked Julia Alamon when we did our mock
Yeah.
fantasy draft. We were like, that's it.
Kia didn't actually sign with the team until like well into free agency, so like that was definitely like a separate
It was
transaction.
gonna happen.
But we all knew it was happening anyways. Like, no one was ever surprised because when Kia signed 1 year in Chicago, we're like, oh cool, well, she's gonna go to the Tempo next year. And I mean, she works for TSN in the off season anyway, so it works perfect because she was doing studio stuff for the Raptors and then could just go play. But like, and I'm happy to have her. Like, honestly, like just as like a culture thing, it's like important, I think, to have a player like her on the team. She's not going to contribute, honestly, that much. I don't think, maybe, but she's not going to be the main contributor. But the fact that she's also the player that got the first buckets on home soil is pretty cool.
Exactly.
I'll give her that. It's important for the lore of the franchise at the end of the day, as much as like all of these things are cheesy and it's like, I feel like we live in an age where it's like not cool to find joy in things anymore. But I think I'm going to feel real feelings on Friday seeing like the Tempo actually play like regular season basketball. Like, we have a team. This is real. This is not just like fan service anymore. You're not just like appeasing us Canadians. It's like we actually have a team to cheer for and this is real. And it's
the
like,
the first player to ever score your point was Canadian.
Yeah, like it's just cool. And it's like, I know that it's like it's not cool to be sentimental, but that was neat. And like, I don't know. I appreciate it. I think that the league is going to be... I'm excited for the Portland Fire, though. I do think
Are you?
Portland...
Really?
I mean, I'm not... Like, I'm excited for them to be there.
Cool.
I'm not really the actual team itself. I'm like, whatever. I'm happy for Bridget. But like, I'm happy that the Fire are back. I think that their court is sick.
It is.
I think that how they're going to play is going to be interesting. I think their style of play, like their preseason, showed some interesting stuff. But the team itself is obviously in a very different place. They chose the developmental path for sure.
The traditional expansion team. Yeah. They went with the old recipe. You know,
they went the very developmental route. But they have the gayest...
But this wasn't just like cast-offs. At least they found some players who were like high draft pedigree and maybe didn't shake out. Some people who were top 5, top 10 picks who never really got the opportunity or didn't really seize it early. And they're like, hey, we're going to give you minutes. We're going to give you the ball.
Or players
and we're going to take like 8 of y'all. And if 4 of y'all hit a level that you hadn't shown previously, that's a win. And then next year we'll draft high, maybe sign some free agents, and then really compete.
Yeah.
Traditional shit.
We even talked about that too with their coaching choice, right? They went with a college coach. They went like that route where it was like they clearly aren't... It'd be surprising if they were trying to win now. And then they ended up drafting appropriately how we thought. Although I thought that their choice in choosing a war with Canada was very funny by taking Bridget with the first pick. That was genuinely hilarious.
That's why I was surprised that you were excited for Portland. I was like, I thought Tempo fans had beef with them for taking
Bridgie. I'm pissed my girl Bridgie is a Portland Fire, but like, I did think that was hilarious though. I'm not gonna lie. That was funny. But I actually, in all seriousness, from a basketball perspective, I am happy for her though, because I do think she's gonna get a chance to show the most in the W that she has yet. Because she's been really good overseas the last couple of years, and she was really showing how important she was to Minnesota by the fact that they traded for Dejanay Carrington, and she still got more minutes than Dejanay, despite even when Dejanay was healthy. So it was like Cheryl obviously trusted her, and I believe in the Lynx development and the fact that she's popped overseas the last couple seasons so much. I really think that she's got a higher ceiling in the W than she's been able to show. And I feel like if she's going to show it anywhere, Portland's going to give her that opportunity, exactly to your point, Chris, where it's like, we're going to take players who either have high draft pedigree or have like, they're like, maybe just need that opportunity where it's like, you've shown it somewhere else, so now show it here. And you're just not going to get it on a team like the Lynx that are trying to win, right? The ball's going to be in Fee's hands more.
Same shit my alma mater's doing right now. But yeah, Portland, you can tell they're not really trying to be competitive this year. They're just like, hey, we're gonna have some vibes, we're gonna throw some players out there, maybe they'll do some cool shit, maybe they won't. Like, there's not a single player on that roster who scored more than 7.3 a game last year. Actually, 7.4. I'm sorry, Phoenix Legend, didn't mean to disrespect you. But yeah, they basically punted on free agency. They weren't really taking swings at anybody. They were like, hey, we're cool with sucking this year because we know Portland's going to show up for the scene. Portland supports the hell out of women's sports. Next year, when they get like a top 2, top 3 pick in a loaded draft.
The only thing I will say, so the thing that's going to piss me off even more than them getting Bridget Carleton is when they inevitably get Silas Swords, because those assholes are still going to be bad enough to get her in a couple
They're going to take all the Canadians. They're going to be Canada's team.
Yeah.
Also, you don't want Portland being bad enough, because like now the lottery stuff is based off a 2-year cumulative record. They have to, Portland has to suck for the next 2 years, which I think is the plan. And then you draft Sarah Strong. You draft Sarah Strong, you just figure out the rest for the next 15 years. So like, is it worth it? I don't know. But I mean, the fans, like you said, the fans will support. It's Portland, the women's sports capital of the world,
I think it was strategic for sure, trying to either get Juju next year or Sarah Strong, especially. I didn't realize the lottery rules actually changed, so that makes sense. Any final, I guess we should wrap up the W here and do some quick NBA stuff, but any final thoughts, any teams you're super excited for, anyone you thought needs to seriously be sat down and like chastised for how poorly they did, other than Chicago? We already talked about them.
I'm just mad at the league for letting the Lynx get the number 2 pick in the draft. Like, that should have been illegal, man. Like,
Cheryl somehow still just like
it's some Oklahoma City Thunder shit, man. Like, they don't need more good young players.
Except that Minnesota is a much more likable team than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
This is very true.
This
is very true. Shout out to labor icon Fisa Kali.
Their star is way less corny. And their coach doesn't do weird squinty things the whole time.
My personal sleep paralysis demon, Kayla McBride, is still in Minnesota, and she shoots 300% from 3 every time she plays against the Mercury. I swear to God, man.
Approximately 1,000,000%.
She's torturing me, but I don't hate her. She hates me though. Apparently,
it's one of those things where it's like you can't hate because you got to respect it too much. But yeah, she probably does personally hate you. She came across you on Twitter one day and was like, "Man, fuck that guy."
Yeah. Probably. I probably said something nice about her. She's like, I don't like it.
I'm going to torture his team for the rest of eternity.
Yep.
Yeah. I am excited to see the Fever this year. I'm excited to see Raven John. I'm excited to see, I think I hope maybe I'm speaking too soon. I really hope we've reached a point where we can have discourse. Well, I'm hoping we can have a normal Caitlin Clark discourse now. I'm like, are we at a point where we can talk normally about her yet? No, not yet.
Not as long as bots still exist.
Cool. No. Okay. Well, then I'll say that we'll bring this back up in like 5 years, and we can finally have.
Wait till Stephen A. Smith finds out the WNBA exists.
God, no.
You talking about this NBA for women? NBA?
Yeah. What? Women play basketball?
Idiots, man! I tell you.
Yeah, like I love how ESPN leaned really heavily into really thoughtful, excellent journalists for their NFL coverage, where the fans are mostly meatheads. But then for basketball, or you want actual the fans want thoughtful discourse, they got Stephen A. Smith.
They got yelling and who wants it more for basketball, but then the violent sport, they went and got people who are carefully breaking down film and introducing all this scheme-based nuance. I was like, the world is upside down.
ESPN threw a bag at Ben Solak to talk about football, and I love Ben Solak, so I'm happy with that. But I'm like,
shout out to him and Mina Kimes, man.
But I'm like, bruh, why are we still listening to Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith? I can't do this. I cannot do this. I cannot.
You know, it's funny you said that, Lyndsay, because the best football analysis I've ever seen is either on NFL, whatever
Network?
Not NFL Network. Whatever the NFL Daily Show is on ESPN.
Yeah, NFL Daily.
NFL Daily.
NFL Live, yeah. Sorry, they changed it.
It's been NFL Live my whole life. I don't even know it was daily. Yeah. That or Get Up. Get Up, I used to watch Get Up every day during the football season.
Get Up has good people. It has Dominique.
It does. It has good Kimberly and all the people. Yep. They blend the sports really well. Listen, once it hits 9 a.m., turn TV off because first thing comes on. I'm
We're
like, I don't want to see
changing
that shit.
channels, yeah.
We're changing
Like, I don't
channels.
like
They even
like,
went
it's
out of their
too
way to get like the most thoughtful former players, man. Like
Yeah, like
they're hitting out the park with football.
or even like and it's like it's not like Amazon did this. Somehow
Yeah.
Amazon has the best basketball for like the best like MNBA crew.
Out of
They
nowhere.
got fucking Dirk, Steve Nash, and Dwayne Wade, and Udonis Haslem is very good. Like he's really
They
good.
microwaved it in one season. They were like, boom, here's some burgeoning
And here's
chemistry
some
for
we'll
y'all.
sprinkle
Here we
in some
go.
Taylor Rooks for some extra charisma, like and hotness.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn it.
Actually teaching people about basketball. What a fucking crazy
Right?
idea, man. Like who would have thought?
Listen, man. Like,
We're actually having nuanced conversations, not just rings culture.
Now,
I just
who he
watched
play
Dirk
for?
break down shooting for 6 minutes on Amazon the
Yeah,
other
not who
day.
he
Like
play
it was great.
Like it's not funny to not know who someone plays for, the team that you're getting paid for to talk
Yes.
about. Like
I'm not gonna lie,
Honestly.
that one does still get me though.
it does sometimes, yeah, but it's like
Some people
Well,
really do play for
only
5
funny when
teams in a
it's Shaq,
season.
though. But it's only funny when it's Shaq, and it's
Yeah,
less funny.
yeah,
It's
when
funny when
Shaq.
it's someone who gets 0.3 minutes per game.
Like, how
But
why
when
would I
it's like
guess
an
that?
actual, when it's a rotation player, it's like, all right, man, come on now.
No, I mean the Amazon crew has been fun, and I like that they've blended in bringing in people like Zach Lowe too, where it's like not all the time, but like here and there, and like just like the
Yeah.
different players they bring through, and like they've done a good job. And I hate that I'm complimenting Amazon for anything, but here we are.
You know what's crazy? It's easy to blame my girlfriend because like she's got me watching more NBA than I've ever watched in like years. Like I just appreciate as a basketball, I appreciate the analysis. I appreciate the thoughtfulness behind the thoughts and the way people
Yeah.
speak about the game. Like you said, you can have Blake Griffin, Dirk
Actually,
Nowitzki.
Blake has been really good.
Blake has been
fun.
really
Yeah.
these people that have won at the highest level and have won on teams that mattered. So like I would listen to them before someone that played on like I don't know the guy in the Jersey Nets after Jason Kidd, right?
Yeah. Well, or Kendrick Perkins.
Is that
I
Richard
don't-
Jefferson shade? It is.
I
I think
love
he
it.
played with J Kidd for a little bit too.
I don't
Or
remember,
did
man.
he?
I was like 5.
I don't even know.
I
Shaq,
just
Shaq dunked on them. That's all that matters. really.
Exactly.
the guy for me actually is Perk. Like I can't deal with Perk. Like he's so unserious.
I've gone full circle. I couldn't stand him at first, and then I was like, wait, he's actually really funny. And then he leaned so far into it, into the point of like self-parody, and now it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, he's just trying to be the next Stephen A. Smith. I think that's what he's trying to do, and I hate it.
One last NBA bit. The
yeah.
Wings are going to be moving to the American Airlines Center.
Permanently.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
saw it on Yahoo News. Apparently they're supposed to announce it formally tomorrow, which when I say tomorrow, I mean the day this episode releases, but they kind of let it slip. So they're not going to be playing at UT Arlington anymore. They're going to be playing at the AAC. I don't know when exactly it'll start, but soonish.
That's good
So
though.
what-
That's awesome.
It is great. Also, that means the Wings are going to almost triple their revenue from ticket sales. What it means to me is that arena won't be done in 2027 because it's an arena and it's also the practice facility kind of in all one big building downtown downtown Dallas at the K. Bailey Conventional Center. K. Bailey Conventional Center. That is a mouthful. Jesus Christ.
That does not flow well.
Hey,
Right?
you can take transit to get to a fucking Wings game now.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's-
can, which is
That's
great.
a big deal.
You know, but that's not going to be done next year, obviously, right? My thing is like, why didn't y'all do this years ago? But we already
Well,
know
yeah.
why. The
That's
interest
kind of
wasn't
what I was
there.
on.
It just wasn't there. Unfortunately, Enrique Satu wasn't good enough. So you get paid, AC foot, and out of nowhere, it's like business is booming. You know, that's why they care about the social media stuff. Like Kendrick Perkins said, who does ibuprofen? You can get a perk.
Yeah, fucking Perk. God
Him
damn
and
it.
Stephen A. both tried some weird flirty shit in like a 3-week span, and I was just like, let's
The perk
maybe
shit
have
was
them
funny,
put
though.
them
I
in
ain't gonna lie.
timeout.
The perk shit
The
was
perk
funny.
one at least was clever.
Stephen A. over here
Stephen A.
sexually being
Harassing somebody
harassed
on
and
live
shit.
television.
Yeah,
That felt
like,
that
was
felt
weird.
like an HR
like
violation.
what?
Like,
Speaking
No, it genuinely did feel like ESPN HR should be contacting him immediately after he gets off camera, because what the hell was that? Like,
and we heard nothing.
nothing. That man is unhinged. I was like, at first when he sent it to me, I was like, that's not real. Nope, that's Steve.
Right?
No, it's real. Okay, wow. Okay, I can't believe how much ESPN has leaned into him. But anyway, whatever.
Like Shanae gave you a good 2 minutes of basketball analysis. And the first thing he was like, you know what, you speaking French. That's gonna find me a French woman. I'm like, whoa, buddy.
My guy, no French woman wants you, first of all. Second,
I wasn't gonna say it, but I mean,
I
you
think
ain't
France
wrong.
as a whole might not. It might be cool on that whole experience.
he checks his
They
phone.
don't like when people speak English to him. They don't want people to yell English at him.
And he also probably checks his phone way too much. He's too married to his job. The French can't fuck with that.
No.
4-day work week, man.
I'm gonna say real healthy work-life balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta have all the extra time to have affairs, man. You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason Paris is the city of love. It's because everyone actually has time for love.
Exactly. You can have two at once. Like, it's
Oh man, that's
crazy.
a 2-for-1 combo.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a two for
man, I'm dead.
Paris, France, the home of twofers.
Speaking of men, the NBA is in the playoffs right now.
Speaking of Frenchmen, to be specific.
Yeah, we got some French on French action in the playoffs yesterday.
French national team violence has broken out.
Don't you just love
Wemby,
it?
12 blocks in one game, and they lost.
And they lost.
They lost. Tough. The Wolves ain't no joke.
No.
Ant was out there with one leg, couldn't get to the rim, was still hitting all kind of, tough contested jumpers. Like
That step back over Wemby
that team
was
does not
nuts.
have any quitting them.
That step back over Wemby is crazy because it's like you know he couldn't see the rim. You know he could not see that.
No, he just threw it out there with
The
a
ball
prayer.
was like a millimeter from his fingernails. Like, I don't understand how he made that shit. Made it look easy though.
Yeah. The Wolves, like, having Ant back for the Wolves, it's like, even if he's not scoring or doing anything really, like, just him physically being on the court, I think is such a big confidence booster for that team. And not having Io if they needed something, but like the ghost of Mike Conley has been really good though. Not gonna lie, he's turned back the clock.
It's just the threat that having Ant out there, what he could do to open up a passing lane or a pocket for someone else to get a shot off or something like that. It's little things, and it worked out in their favor.
I think the Gobert Wemby thing is so fun too, just because of the French national team implications and how like Wemby's been watching Gobert for so long, and like Gobert's been watching Wemby come for his fucking job for so long.
Yeah. Like for the longest time, the biggest
Gobert,
one.
Gobert is feeling himself right now because of his performance against the Nuggets. So like
he's talking cash shit right now, man. I think he said like what 4 DPOYs to 1 or whatever.
I mean,
like he's talking cash shit. He knows.
Can you blame him?
I would too.
I'm
if I held him to 11 and he's 85
Really?
feet tall, I'd be talking shit too.
Unfortunately, he deserves to talk his shit. This is probably the best he's ever looked in the playoffs, and especially like people are appreciating his defense and not clowning him for once.
And like it's coming against the guy that's supposed to replace him. Like think about it. He's Homelander. I mean, no, he's Soldier Boy.
He's Soldier Boy.
Wemby is Homelander. That's the new and improved model. So like,
wait, did Homelander replace the rapper Soldier Boy?
Listen, if you're watching season 5, you already know what I'm talking about. So it's like, no, I gotta get my chain back. And like, Rudy was the first Frenchman. The first big baguette. And now you got the 7'4" guy with the 8-foot wingspan, like a goddamn alien. Yeah, like, dude, yo.
Hey, Patient Zero's been playing some of his best ball this postseason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's been.
I'm not gonna lie.
He gave Jokic more trouble than he normally does.
I think the Stifle Tower nickname officially needs to be applied to Wemby instead of Gobert.
You think so?
I know we can bring him back. Gobert's re-earned Stifle Tower. I feel like he's been stifling the shit out of people.
I always just believe though that nickname just never quite got the like play that it should have because it's just so good. The Stifle Tower is so good.
It is pretty good.
I don't like that nickname.
It was nice to have a fun nickname re-enter the NBA sphere again for the first time. Fucking initials and letters. Yeah, get out of here.
You know what's not fun? What's not fun is getting finally an Embiid Cat matchup in the playoffs when they're at their best, and then there's no beef. I mean, it's cool because Embiid sent flowers to Cat when his mother passed due to COVID. But like, I'm sorry, I want some negativity. Shit. Am I a bad person?
Give it 3 games. Give it 3 games. They remember the headlock.
It's gonna take one elbow, but all right, my guy.
They thought Cat was soft, man. Like, come on now.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. But it's really good playoffs though. I've watched more basketball, NBA basketball, than I can remember. Like, I grew up a Bulls fan, and I stopped watching the team in 2017 when they traded Jimmy Butler. That was my guy. So yeah, it's been a joy. The basketball has been great. The Spurs look good. The Knicks look good. I was kind of surprised that Detroit and Orlando went 7. But kind of glad it did, and that Orlando lost.
Rock fight too.
Yeah, it was a rock brick fight, boy.
Two teams blew 3-1 leads in the first round. 3.
Like.
But no one's was as satisfying as Boston's.
No, that was great. And then like Jaylen Brown going on the stream the very next day. This is the best year of my career.
And you're from Chicago, so you fit the vibe of the theme of this pod, which is we don't cheer for Boston sports, except for the part where Chris is a Pats fan. We don't talk.
No,
we don't talk about that.
It's a long story. I don't want to eat up too much of our runtime.
We don't talk about
local high school team when I was like 5 was the Patriots. You know what I mean?
Understood. I'm a Packers fan from Chicago, so I understand.
Damn.
Exactly. Sit down.
They hate you in your own city.
My father hates me, so yeah, I trust me. I understand it.
It's like
Bo-
it's like the hockey equivalent of like, you know, being the one Oilers fan in your family of Calgary Flames fans. I know a few people. One of my friends is that person. His whole family hates him. Like,
Well,
and they play each other like multiple times per NBA
yeah,
season, or it's for NHL season. So like they do not like that. His whole family hates him. It's very funny. I just had to arbitrarily pick an NFL team because, you know, Canada.
Canada.
The Bills weren't
So I am a
Canada's
fan of
team yet at that
so,
time.
so
At
I
that
am a
point,
fan of the New Orleans Saints, naturally.
Wait, how did that happen? The Saints?
Yeah.
It's always
It's
the
just
weirdest
because
teams.
well, it's because you usually
had etouffee one.
you find it's because you watched a game and something. I don't know. For me, it was watching the New Orleans Saints return to the Superdome after Katrina. I just remember watching that game and being like, and just the vibe was just so good. And then like obviously Reggie Bush kicks ass, so that was
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
makes perfect
My
sense.
mom is a Cowboys fan because she watched a Monday Night Football game and Roger Staubach was like became her favorite. Like that's
My
just how
dad's a Steelers fan because when he was a kid in London, England, the first football game he ever saw was a Steelers Super Bowl,
Steel
and they
curtain.
won. So
you just pick teams based on I don't know you just find a way, right? It's how they connect to you.
Yeah.
So
my first game was a snow day game on like Christmas Eve, Pats Dolphins. I hated the animal, the dolphin, because I disliked the Miami Dolphins that much, man.
well, funny story. I low-key cheered for the Dolphins as my first NFL team because my uncle was a huge Dolphins fan and I thought the logo
Really?
was cool.
It
Damn.
But I
was a
was like a
cool
child.
logo.
I was a literal kid, and then I learned things about football, and then the Saints thing happened. But like, I am like partial to the Dolphins still because their color scheme is sick, and that dolphin is weirdly badass.
I
I
was
no
about to
longer
say,
have
you
beef
realize
with
orange and
marine
teal just
mammals,
don't work
though.
on football, right?
No, they don't, but it works. Somehow that logo works, man.
It does, yeah.
I don't make
Got a
the
helmet
rules.
with his own picture on it.
It's great. The dolphin with the helmet is my favorite thing ever. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
deeply hilarious. Yeah, the NBA though, but the Knicks definitely put belt to ass for the last 2 games.
They've won their last 3 games by like 115 points or some crazy shit like that. I wrote like after game 3 or after game 4 that Cat is kind of the centerpiece of the way to make this offense work. Because a big part of the Knicks' problem is there's one dude who's a plus ball handler. There is one.
Yeah.
Only one on the entire roster. And before you say Jordan Clarkson, dog, look, no, like we're not doing that. But he's to his credit, he's played well, but he's not a lead guard like that. So you have one guy who can set people up off the dribble. And how do you get open shots for anybody if there's only one guy who can dribble and everyone can just trap him all game? Cat at the top,
Yeah.
cat at the elbow, cat in the post. He's the other half court playmaker that the team employs, because even the other guys who can kind of make plays, like Hart can do it in transition, but he's not
That's about
a
it.
technical enough ball handler to do that in the half court. So like
Yeah.
you got to run shit through Cat, and it makes Brunson's job easier. OG and Mikhail, kind of awkward ball handlers. They can get it off cuts now.
Yeah.
Everything just makes more sense when you run at least, a good percentage of your actions through Cat. Even if he's not necessarily scoring a ton, it just makes everyone's life easier. The system falls into place. I kind of don't love that it took him so long to figure that out, but I'm happy they did.
It's like 2 different coaches. So my
Well,
thing is, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you finish.
No, I'm just saying, like, it took 2 different coaches. I mean, first of all, Cat is not a back to the basket post player at all, right? So if he's going to be on the perimeter, give him the ball to create. Like, it does.
I think the
It's
thing
weird
with
because
that,
he got
though,
to do it more under Tibbs than under the
I was
first
gonna say,
several
though,
months of
but
Mike Brown.
the Cat as a hub thing, though, became a thing in Minnesota originally before he even got traded, because it happened a bit on the Tibbs team, and then for sure with Finchie the last couple years when the Timberwolves were like turning up, Cat was basically trying to like mimic Jokic. Like he was playing a bit of a Jokic style, like we're gonna be the 5 passing more. And he's a good enough passer. The problem was that he also makes a lot of really ridiculously stupid turnovers, and that was what
Yeah.
Loves
Finch
an untimely offensive foul. Let me
an
tell you.
untimely offensive foul or an untimely offensive turnover. Like hate to see Cat coming because
Yeah.
yeah,
He gets a little too. Sometimes he piles too much dip on his chip,
Yeah.
a little
And it
bit.
breaks
Yeah,
in
and it
half.
doesn't work out.
the chip to dip ratio is a little off. It's like when your
Yeah.
topping to crust ratio on a pizza is off. It's not. It's exactly
Yes, Cat does this thing sometimes where it's like when you slice the pizza before it's cooled down
when everything melts off.
and everything just slides off.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that to his game sometimes, but he's contained himself. He's contained that impulse so far this postseason.
He has actually. I will give him that credit.
I haven't seen him just bulldoze a guard who's been standing there for 10 whole seconds on a drive. Like he's done a little sidestep or kicked it out. Like he's been a
Yeah.
better decision maker,
I will
which
give
I
Cat.
appreciate because the skill has always been there.
I will give Cat this credit that since he kind of unlocked himself in the playoffs in the and I think it was like 2021 when they lost to the Nuggets, but the Nuggets won the championship that year. They always said the Wolves were their hardest series, and that was the series that Cat like kind of really like actually showed up in the playoffs for. And it was his first, like it was his second time in the playoffs really, but like first time he truly showed up and he could like he was rattled to start the series, but by the end of it, he kind of found himself. And then since then, like in the playoffs, he's turned into a playoff riser for sure. He manages to tone down some of the stupid parts of his game that
Thank God.
yeah, right. You just can't ignore during the regular season because there's just too much of a sample in the regular season sometimes where you can't turn it off for that long. Like you just can't.
I think he led the league in fouls, man. Like he does it on the defensive end too, just hands doing whatever, independent of what his legs are doing. But
never straight up.
He's
everywhere
been more
else.
in control.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic about the Sixers series. I think Cavs is gonna be interesting. I don't think either of those teams looked all that good in the first
I
round.
would just like to go on record as saying that Cleveland Cavaliers are a bunch of frauds, and the Raptors deserve way more credit than they're getting in this whole situation. The entire conversation is about how the Cavaliers have like fallen apart, which they did, but no one's talking about the fact that the Raptors defense actually just dismantled them, like straight up. If the Raptors had like a slightly better shooting game and we could have won the series. Like we literally just forgot how to put the ball in the basket for like 4 quarters. But aside from that, it was all good.
That's because the ghost of Big Nurse is still haunting the team.
Don't you put that evil on me. Don't you do that. Actually, something funny that I'm trying to do, and I think I might. But my mom actually, telling Chris this the other day, my mom is actually the biggest Nick Nurse hater on the planet. Even when he was coaching the Raptors and we won a championship, she would have totally driven the championship bus over him, backed up and driven over him again. Like she hated his guts. And still does. And it's really funny. Like she's a big Dwayne Casey girl and like hard onto the Dwayne Casey should have never been fired. And if Dwayne Casey had Kawhi Leonard, we still would have won. I don't agree, but it is funny.
I don't agree, but
I think it's hilarious. Anyway, so she still hates Nick. And so she's been hate watching the 76ers. And I was like joking with Chris where I was like, man, when the Knicks beat the Sixers, I'm gonna have to bring my mom on the podcast so you guys can smoke the Nick Nurse pack together.
Gotta do it, man.
No, for real.
Gotta do it. I like that shit up. I'm smoking that. I will be smoking that MB pack if we win the series.
100%, yeah.
100%. I gotta get revenge for him injuring MAGA Mitch.
I love that guy, Mitch. Mr. Pickup Truck.
What a confusing man he is.
No, for real.
I'm sorry, MAGA Mitch. What the fuck did I miss?
Mitch is big. Yeah, he is not politically aligned with many of the other.
The rest of America, the one with a brain.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
He has simple wants and needs, I think, that man. But he got big rims on his truck. He's very happy.
He got a cowboy hat on, so.
He would fit in really. You should tell him to buy a home in Alberta. He would fit in really well here.
He may well retire there. I think he's from Louisiana, but I don't know if he's from New Orleans or if he's from somewhere like.
He's a country boy for sure. I know that. I know he's not from a big city. I know he's from a smaller place, but he would fit in really well in Alberta, and he should probably consider Calgary as his retirement spot.
Yeah.
You want trucks with big rims? Buddy, we fucking got you. You want truck nuts? We got you too.
He was born in Florida, a rural town called Chalmette. I'm assuming Louisiana. It's outside of. It's in the New Orleans, Medier, Kenner, Metrop. Is it? No. Technically, it's a suburb of New Orleans, basically.
Yeah. Probably got some swamp. Do we need to post-mortem the teams that got bounced? Because I feel like the second round series are cool. Like Wolves Spurs is fun.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Thunder Lakers. Like
No.
if there's no Luka, I'm not even gonna watch that.
The first round has been better than the second round is like shaping up to be.
Yeah.
Pistons, Cavs, either of those teams can win, and I don't know if it'll really make a splash because, like, at the end of the day, man, even if they go to the conference finals, even if they win the conference finals, neither of those teams is winning the championship.
No.
That series feels like an absolute rock fight. Like I just feel like cavemen will be playing that game. I don't know. Like quick like little Raptors postmortem for myself because it ties into the Cavs thing. Like I never really had high expectations. Big picture, I'm really happy with the way the Raptors season went. I think overall it was a success. We learned a lot about a lot of players we needed to learn about, especially Scotty. And like we learned we had a dog in CMB and like RJ maybe actually like should stay with the team, like different things. But I think what that series kind of like what my biggest takeaway weirdly though is it's like, damn it, if we had gotten past the Cavs, like we actually could have had a chance to make noise in the playoffs. And it would have been like fake noise in the sense that I don't think it should have changed how we dealt with the offseason. but it would have been just really fun as a fan where you get to go on that like pure gravy run where it's like we have no expectation of being here and somehow we're in the second round.
The Patriots playoff run from
Yeah,
last
100%.
season, basically.
That could have been
Happy
us.
to be here.
Because
I wasn't even mad we lost the Super Bowl.
Because I got to be honest, I genuinely feel in my heart of hearts that the Raptors could beat the Pistons. Like I do.
Easy.
I really do. And like with Boston out now, like we obviously would have lost to the Knicks because we've lost them like 14 straight times. So we would have lost, but that's
Who's
fine.
counting? Not me.
Who's counting?
counting?
Not you.
Who's counting?
Not
Yeah.
either of us. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just grateful that the one Raptors game I've ever gotten to see live, we smoked the Knicks. It was great.
I've gotten to go to 4 straight years of Knicks Raptors, and it's been the same result every time.
When I saw them, it was when the
been
Knicks
so
still
cool.
had Frank Ntilikina starting. I think times
Frankie's
were different.
Talk about cool nicknames wasted on a player who never really got it going, man. Frankie Smokes,
Yeah.
Frank Nicotine. Like, man, come on now. Like,
Yeah,
he had a sub nickname within his.
I know.
It never worked out. Him and
Yeah.
Kristaps were supposed to be.
Yeah.
At least
Well,
Kristaps was good.
At
He was
least
okay.
you came out the other side and now have Jalen Brunson, and it's okay. But
Remember Kevin
I don't know.
Knox?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That pick didn't even make sense when they made it.
It didn't. No.
It didn't even make sense when they made it. I'm still mad about Kevin.
My bad.
Ah,
I think we
That
can
was
definitively say at
indefensible.
least the RJ Barrett pick was good though, because even though
It
RJ was never a
It was the only
player
pick
that
they could make.
well, yeah, and it's also a pick too that like even if it could ultimately contributed to the form of this team because that's how you got OG Anunoby, right? So it's like even if RJ isn't on the team anymore, he was still a pretty big part of building the current iteration of the roster.
And everybody liked RJ. I don't think anyone was necessarily
No.
like over the
His
moon, like
game is
super
just
in love with
hard.
him as
His
a player.
game is
But
his
people
game
liked
is
him. He was
his
nice.
game is just tough. Like it's one of those things where it's like on the court, he's just a hard fit because he doesn't do one thing super, super well, but he does a lot of things like really well. And he kind of overlaps with a lot of other people. So it's just like, and it's a little ugly at times, but that game winner definitely has some on his home court Raptors lore, that's for sure.
You know who
And
got drafted immediately after Kevin Knox? Mikal Bridges.
Of course.
And one pick after that, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay, but I do genuinely call bullshit on anybody who thought Shai was going to be what Shai is now at the time.
Yeah. No,
I think everyone
come
thought
on.
he'd be better than Kevin Knox.
Well, yeah, for sure. That was a 100%. I think that the Kevin Knox pick was that's objectively bad, and we're not like that's no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone thought he was the consensus number 1 who slipped to 11, but like I don't think anyone thought Kevin Knox was going to go 9.
No, that was a crazy
Like,
pick.
Nah. Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
But we got Mikal anyway, and Dante, who went 17th that year, he's
It
playing
took
his
a
time
bunch
with
of
us.
draft
so,
picks and other things to get there, but like it's fine.
Landry Shamet too. He could have also wound up on the Knicks.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be linear, but you got there eventually. Yeah, I don't know. The first round was genuinely like it was good basketball. I was actually usually the first round is boring because it's chalk, but this was like excellent.
Yeah.
It's a lot more exciting than we expected. Even the ones that wound up being chalk were actually pretty fun. Yeah, I think, man, Nuggets went out sad though. I mean, I think if you told me that and Dosunmu and Dante would get hurt, I'm like, okay, the Nuggets
sorry, did
win
you say
that one.
good,
Maybe it's
Christan?
ugly, but
Are you a Nuggets hater? Okay.
Hey, listen, he lost it with the whole fake tough brothers shit, man. Listen, we get it. We get it. We get it. Serbia was tough, war torn. We get it. But guess what? That's like 3/4 of America, buddy. And it's been that way for the last 50 years. So, like, you're not the only one. Like, come on, man. And, like,
Honestly,
the fake
yeah,
tough
okay.
shit on the court, wanting to grab players and push people and shit. Like that one foul he had the other day in Game 7 where, like, somebody, like, I think grabbed him.
Yeah.
It was like, I think they go, like, double text, something like that. I'm like, bro, come on.
It was game 6 or something. Yeah, it was stupid.
Like, you push the shit out of him. Come on, bro.
Like I love Jokic.
he
but
definitely threw a fit a couple times in that series.
This series definitely made me be like, oh man, yeah, you're just whining right now.
Yeah.
I really like him as a player. Mostly, I just enjoy actually Alec on the court, just purely. But for sure, this last series was just sad. I don't know. There's a lot of just gnarly feelings about the Nuggets right now.
Yeah.
They're not my team by any means. They've kind of become my team just by default of cheering for Jokic, and then like they're the Rocky Mountain Brethren, I guess. But kind of pay attention that Mountain Central time solidarity. But yeah, they definitely that was sad. That was really bad. Like I just didn't expect them to fall apart like that. I'm starting to question the coaching hire. Like I'm starting to question whether Adelman was actually the right coach after all.
They hired a Sour Patch Kid looking motherfucker to coach the team. I can't take him seriously.
Yeah, he also kind
Christian
of
Brown
like
says he took all the blame for not being a strong enough leader, so that's what's going to fix the team.
he also I forgot that he also made a funny statement. Yeah, I don't know. He's in all seriousness though, Christian Brown is part of the problem because they chose to pay him and then he did fuck all year.
You gave him like 120. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, holy
150.
shit.
150.
They extrapolated some potential in him that I'm not sure everyone else saw. Like I
Well,
don't know
I
that
think
they
the
had
problem
who were they
also
bidding against?
so I think Calvin Booth gave him that extension.
That explains it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like 90, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Calvin Booth is the one who gave him the extension over Peyton Watson. And in fairness, at the time, Peyton hadn't showed anything that justified choosing him over Christian. But Christian's contract also never needed to be a max because even though he was good immediately, he never proved to be a max player off the bat either. I don't know.
Don't pay nobody like that unless they can dribble.
And no one's taking that contract in a trade. I'm sorry. No one's taking that shit.
No.
You
Honestly,
gotta give up picks to get somebody to take
I
that
think,
contract.
and they don't have any to give up. They have one more first round pick. Because they tried to put one on Michael Porter Jr. Also, Michael Porter Jr. getting to do a fucking victory lap. Not fun. Don't enjoy that. That's gross.
I mean, not really, because he's at home on the couch, not in the playoffs.
Well, no. Oh, but you bet he was out there being like, the Nuggets would have won if I was on the team. You know, he did that.
Sure.
He actually was on a podcast saying that recently. So he's still doing the victory because he's a corny ass man. He's a corny ass man.
And it's just uncrazy enough because they did win with him on the team once, so you can't even be like, you know what I mean?
I don't think he would have helped them in that series, though, to be honest.
No. And I don't even think
they needed defense in that series. They didn't need more buckets.
I don't even think it was a him thing. It was the fact that look at who they brought back. I mean, they signed Bruce Brown, and that should have been the first red flag.
That was a weird choice. I was stoked with their offseason for the most part. Like, I loved the JV situation. I was really happy about that. I thought that was like a good choice, at least because you just have a center who can play similarly, so you're not like losing size. Plus, Daron Holmes was coming back.
Yep.
From injury, so at least you got some buffer there. That was a good choice. But yeah, the Bruce Brown thing was weird. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fair to also say the Nuggets weren't as bad as they looked in the playoffs in terms of they suffered the worst 3-point shooting percentage dip of any other team from regular season to playoffs. They went from high 30s to 29%. They literally as a collective just couldn't shoot. And so that contributed. There's no way that didn't, but the vibes were not good either. The eye test didn't match the stats. If you even look at the last game, Jokic had a great game, but the eye test doesn't match. It didn't feel that good. And so the vibes don't match anything, but I don't know. At the same time, they couldn't have been that fucking bad either. It's just the shooting really did make a difference, but they were terrible and they deserved to lose. I was sad when they lost, but they deserved it. They did. They didn't deserve to win game 7.
Went out hella sad.
Went hella
sad. Boston went out sad. Blew
a
sure
lead. But you know who was happy? Me.
Most people, if I'm being honest, felt pretty good about that.
I'm my team might have lost, but so did the Celtics.
Jaylen Brown whining on his Twitch stream, talking about man, look at he flopping
the Brad clips.
And then today
breaking down film,
turning it on the media, being the media just exaggerates. That's their version of flopping.
Yeah, that shit was wild. That felt like a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander level, corny concept there. But
that was
Boston, man. At least Boston's not going to be in crisis mode, but Denver's in crisis mode. Somebody's personnel got to change, and I don't know that there's anyone that could trade out where they could realistically get somebody better.
Unfortunately, this is the issue. There is that the Nuggets their best trade asset to some extent is Jamal Murray because he had a great year. But the problem is that you also don't really. I don't think Jamal will be as good next to anybody else as Jokic. Him and Jokic are so perfect together at this point that it's
extensive injury history too.
Yeah.
Do you make that trade? I don't know. It's messy, but
hey, the Rockets need a point guard.
Man,
speaking of teams that went outside,
bring Fred back.
But I actually don't think that I love Freddie. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, Raptors legend. But I don't think he was the problem. Him being gone wasn't the whole thing. That team, the vibes on that team, I'm sorry, but Kevin Durant does not contribute to winning other than scoring. But as a teammate, he doesn't do shit. As much as they all want to talk about the burner stuff not being a big deal, it clearly was. Because
listen, we can't confirm anything, but if any of that is the truth of what I think it is to be, any person, shitty human being, I'll never watch none of his games. The whole drone shit, yeah, guy, you're out of here. Sorry.
Nah.
No, middle fingers up.
I really hate that nobody wanted. I actually also hate that the biggest discourse about the whole thing was about the burner account and not the whole admitting to drones killing kids. Yeah. That part.
The biggest part that shouldn't matter, but hey,
Well, yeah, we can't talk about that.
No.
Israel's not giving this podcast any money, so we can. But I don't know. The Kevin Durant thing was That's a weird situation now in Houston because, like, what do you do with him? Do you keep him? Do you
I
trade
mean, you
him?
have
Like,
to, right?
well, do you? Because you're not. I mean, you can't technically. Yes, you. I mean, you can trade him technically, but you're not going
Yeah.
to get him. Well, you will, but you won't get as much as you could. And it's like
Yeah.
at this point, I think unfortunately for Kevin specifically, he's kind of people see this now. It's like, well, what'd you do? We didn't win
Yeah.
with you. Like, yeah, you can still score, but it seems like he's doing that regardless of whether or not the rest of the team is doing well or bad or winning or losing or whatever. Like, he's gonna get his, and it's not even like a selfishness thing. It's just his game doesn't lift anybody else up.
I mean, it's been that way since he left Golden State, and people think it's like, oh, no, you say that because you don't like him or something like that. And it's like, no, I'm just saying, like, strictly, the guy hasn't been good since Golden State. I mean, he's had runs in Brooklyn, he had a couple of runs in Phoenix, but like, it never really amounted to anything. And like, let's say you look at Houston, right? Okay, they were 52-30 this year. They were, what were they last year? 52-30 last year. So they had the same exact record without you. They lost in the
Yeah.
first round this year. I mean, last year they lost the first round too. But still, like,
It just seems like he's like like the whole burner thing was like, he wanted to come to Houston because they'd built this like, and same thing with Brooklyn, right? When he wanted to go there, they'd built this like young team, like hard playing, accountability, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But all of it erodes as soon as he gets there because he doesn't want that. So you're like, well, then why did you come? Like, I don't really understand. I personally am in the camp of Ime Udoka as a fraud.
Oh my god, yeah,
Like,
nah, I
I
need a shirt. Like,
for
I
sure.
need merch.
I don't think that's a hot take anymore, but apparently it still is. I still think he's a fraud, and I think that when Joe Mazzulla came in and Boston instantly won, to me that was a first sign of like, hey, well,
Yeah.
Ime is a fraud because like the talent was there, nothing changed about this team really, other than the coaching.
The coach.
And yeah, he came to Houston. He did a good job of raising the floor. I think he's a good floor raiser, but I think he's a fraud as far as being the coach that gets you over the top. And I think that's definitely been proven in this series because he didn't adjust to shit. Like, I don't know. I've been in the camp of Raptors fans who was like a little unsure about Darko all season, where I'm like, I think I like him. The players clearly like him, but as a tactician, I don't know. In the
Yeah.
playoffs, I'm like, damn, Buddy was like making adjustments, like no problem. He's like, hell yeah, like sorry, Grandpa Yak, you're sitting now. CM, our rookie is starting, like whatever. He made all kinds of adjustments, but then you see an experienced coach like Ime who gets like all this like, oh my god, he's such a great coach and like all this stuff, and then he's like in the playoffs and his team can't do shit. And I'm like, well,
Anything.
is he a good coach? I don't know.
They say he is, so I guess we'll find out. But from what I've seen, I mean, he's coached loaded teams loaded with superstar talent. Hey, maybe it's not the team, maybe it's the coach. Maybe the coach is as good as it's advertised.
The vibes also just seem so much worse than before in Houston.
Yeah.
And I
They
don't
had
think
fun
all of
last
it.
year.
I don't think all of it's Kevin Durant, but
No.
part of it's Kevin Durant. I don't know. I think Ime's also eroded some of the vibes. Like, I think the vibes were good because they were winning last year, and even this year they were winning. But I think that like he's probably a very hard coach to play for, and I feel like there's a shelf life on how long he'll be in charge of. I think he's actually like Nick Nurse in that sense. Like, I think Nick Nurse
Your
has a hard
your
shelf life on how long he can coach a
your
team
halftime
because
adjustment can only be "you're a bitch" so many times. Like
Yeah.
that you can
yeah,
only pull that card so many times. Eventually, you gotta go on the chalkboard and draw some shit up,
You
man.
gotta do
Like,
yeah.
something.
Because even if the play don't work, at least you tried.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Players just want to see that maybe you know more than they do. Like you have a job for a reason, buddy, as the coach.
You
Like,
can try.
yeah. So, any thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up? We should probably do that soon.
Yeah, y'all go first.
I mean, it's gonna be a really great WNBA season.
Yeah.
Talk about the top 15 I've got. In no particular order. Well, Vegas is number one, sure, but at that point, you can pick who you want. Liberty, Aces, Fever. It's gonna be really top at the top four. It's gonna be packed. I can't wait for those games, especially because you can kind of see like how they play against each other before the playoffs really get here. And then the middle of the pack, I mean, you got the Sparks, you got the Valkyries, you got teams that didn't really do much, like still moves along the kind of perimeter. Like the Sparks, they got NECA, they traded Rakia, I mean, they didn't really do much. And then again, they just waived Julie Van Loo, so like she was one of your best scorers last year after you got her from the
Yeah,
Valkyries.
no, that was
And hopefully they bring her back. I doubt it, because I doubt she clears waivers. Maybe Marta Suarez clears waivers. She goes back to Golden State, preferred developmental spot. It's just the way that happened was just kind of really noisy, just
again
unnecessarily.
just
Like,
weird asset management choices, and especially loudly.
yeah, like you drafted you say yesterday last year, didn't come over. She's coming back over this year. But I mean the Spanish playoffs don't end for I think another week. because Valencia, our fans team, plays tomorrow. They're not on the same team. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, you see, like, still playing playoff games in Spain, and the W's about to start. So it's going to be like, what's that adjustment going to be for Golden State with Yosef? We're going to see. It's a lot of parity, but again, it's not. You have those top 4 teams. After that, it's really a crapshoot to who gets a higher playoff seed.
Yeah, it's gonna be like actually almost a little like the NBA was this year, where it's like the top of the league is kind of set, and it's like everybody else, like the fights for 3 through 10 is like really intense.
Yeah, that's what's gonna probably be.
Which it's not bad. I think it's actually okay for the league when most teams are like somewhat comparable. I mean, you're always gonna have your teams that are above everybody else, but there's always intrigue and drama with those teams. I mean, the Aces started slow last year, right? So who knows, right?
Yeah,
What's gonna happen
right.
this year? And
They didn't won
maybe
17 straight games.
yeah, maybe the coaching in New York isn't going to be the solve. We think, maybe something goes wrong there. Or like, who knows? There's always stuff that can happen with these contenders too. This part of the season is always the most interesting because it's like the part where everybody has the most optimism because like everyone's healthy, everyone's, no one's played yet. Like the games are fake. Like everything, nothing
Yep.
means anything yet. It's like the most exciting part of the season. Everyone can just see the potential. So, any other thoughts from you there, Chris? Other Christian, I guess I just learned today.
Remind everyone where they can find your work and stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, you can find me at on Twitter at Christian WNBA. It's kind of funny. People always ask me where did I get that from. I, like most people in the WNBA space, it kind of came through the NBA. At some point, not everyone on the NBA has like their last name something in the NBA. It's kind of like a joke. It's like you don't
Zach
really work
Lowe,
for
NBA, blah blah blah.
yeah, like people that do that, you don't work for the NBA, but you cover the NBA, so it's kind of like a play on that. You can find me at Christian WNBA on Twitter, Christian WNBA on Blue Sky. I'm getting better at posting on there. People have been getting on my case over the last 2 weeks about not posting on Blue Sky often enough. I am sorry.
Forget I have Blue Sky sometimes.
I do too, man. And it's different when you're copying and pasting stuff from like press releases or stuff from teams and content and stuff. Like articles, I'm pretty consistent with posting articles, right? But when it comes to videos and like live tweeting games, that's a lot of work, man, to post on 2 different apps at the same time.
It's also like the muscle memory of just going to Twitter. Like we're all of the age where Twitter was it, and now it's like hard to pivot. And it's like it's not that I haven't left Twitter because I believe in Elon's mission, because I definitely don't. But it's just hard to leave something like that. I don't know. It takes time, and especially with the NBA, WNBA, like basketball in particular, is so online and so on those apps. So yeah, it's hard.
That's where we get most of our news from, and it doesn't help. Basketball or anything else. So I mean, you delete Twitter, you're not gonna know anything until like tomorrow.
Yeah. Pretty much. Are you on Instagram or TikTok or anywhere else?
Yes, Instagram. It's Christian WNBA as well. I recently changed that. On TikTok, I think it's Off the Record BB. I'm gonna have to start posting on there. I haven't really been on there as much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got some stuff coming out this week. Get you ready for the season. I've got a Raven Johnson piece I'm dropping tomorrow because people are just so fucking shocked that she's good. And it's like, where have you been for the last 5 years? Like, Jesus Christ, man. It's crazy, We're gonna set the record straight with that one.
I love it. Well, we'll make sure we share those when we pop up, but we'll put all your links and handles and stuff in the episode notes if anyone wants to go find your work. And I'm guessing you share all your articles, everything on your pages. So we'll make sure we amplify that for you. But really appreciate you coming on the pod. It's been awesome to have you.
Man, thanks for coming out. It was fun.
No, thank you for having me. This was great. Also, I need to go on more podcasts where they have wine as part of the show. Like, it's more fun.
Yeah, so like part of the reason we chose to do the podcast this way was like we were doing a previous basketball podcast, and things didn't work out really with the people we were doing it for, and we were both really liked talking about wine anyways, and the NBA especially is so connected, and the WNBA is becoming that way, just so connected to the wine world as well, that we just thought it'd be a fun way to a niche way to talk about sports. And we try to pair the wines with the episode, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's just we get to drink wine and talk about shit. It's fine.
That's like the first 20 minutes of us today talking about Canadian politics and infrastructure and shit. And I was like, I like this. Listen, I read everything, so I know what's going on above the border, below it, all the other shit. I'm aware.
Hell yeah. Well, buddy, I have a story for you. Let me send it over your way. The entire province of Alberta just got doxxed by Elections Alberta. So if you want a crazy story, I got you. But yeah, no, it was awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. definitely will share your work more, and we'd love to have you again. But you can find, for anybody else, you can find us on social media. We're just on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, technically still, at wineanddimepod, and give us a follow there. We post things when we feel like it. Just kidding. We do actually post. So yeah, find us there. Have a great day, everybody. It's fun.